in the quiet at night, with my heart laid bare, something stirring inside, like a silent prayer. You gave me this flame, a purpose divine. Lord, help me remain in your design. Keep my lamp burning, oh, keep my lamp burning right, keep my lamp burning, oh, till I see your light, till I see your light. Every moment I breathe, every step that I take, all the truth I believe, all the choices I make, you fill me with grace, a vessel refined. Now I seek your face, lead out behind, keep my lamp burning, oh, keep my lamp burning.
Hey everyone, good to see you guys. Thank you for coming. It's going to be an exciting one. We are joined by Janusz again to do his presentation to us. How's it going, Janusz?
Hello, how are you, Flat? You are a bit far from the microphone, I think. Maybe
Nope.
a bit closer.
Always, let me see, maybe my settings have changed again.
Yeah, I do not hear you as usually.
There we
as well.
go. Settings
Yeah.
have changed in the mic.
Yes, now it's great. Perfect.
Yeah. So hello again, guys. Good to see you guys.
Hello.
Okay, this is Janusz coming to present us again. He did present before, so this is actually like a part 2. I enjoyed the first presentation. I think it was quite good. Good to see you. I just got something to say. All the people trying to blackmail me and threaten me on email saying, you guys are anti-Semitic, I'm going to report you to the South African. Go ahead, report us, because there's no anti-Semitic content on this channel. They're going to laugh at you. Let's put it that way. And by the way, if you do choose to do something like that, I have legal right to get your information, and I know where you live then. So, up to you. So, Janusz, do we hate Jews?
No.
Do we love Jews?
Yes, we do.
Do we love truth?
Of course.
Do we love history?
Do you have what? History?
And we,
Oh,
yeah,
of course.
history.
Of course.
Yeah, and
yeah.
what are we presenting here? History
and facts.
and scripture and facts.
Yes, exactly.
So what's anti-Semitic about that?
If someone doesn't like the truth, so it's bad for the truth and the feelings? No. The truth is the truth. It's objective. And truth does not care about someone's feelings.
Exactly.
If you choose to be offended, it's your choice. To be offended is a choice.
Yep. So I'm glad we cleared that out there. Good to see everybody. Please hit the likes, share the show. You guys rock. So, Janusz, what do you want to start with?
All right. Last time we have finished, I mentioned about the kingdom of Judah. It's not kingdom of Israel. We have finished at this moment exactly. So now I will further explain how it goes. And I remember that last time as well, someone mentioned about the house of Asher. I don't know if this person is already here or not yet. If you are here, I'll just give you like, I don't know, 30 seconds. Just say you're here so I can pick up the topic if you want. Yeah, let's wait like 30 seconds.
1, 2. Just joking.
No, just wait for a bit, if no one is interested. I can make a comparison later. It's related to the people who were exactly enforcing the laws in the old times, and it's parallel with the Paul's book. So there's a great comparison, and it's not like those people in the history were created, just put there. No, just Paul's use it to write his book. That's this way, not other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I
so looks
don't
like
think they're in yet.
no. So we just wait. I can bring it later.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back to the Judah. So Judah was the father of all so-called Jewish people, which we know exactly the name Jew did not exist that time. It was, I think, first time mentioned in the 1200, later popularized in the 1500s, and then massively popularized by the King James Bible. But mainly it was not in use. It was from time to time used, but mainly people didn't know who are Jews, even when we were speaking to one to another, because they didn't know the name. It was just popularized in the King James Bible. So for me, the name Jew was introduced in the King James Bible, because before that, we had barely knowledge about this stuff.
Yeah, that's why I said it was actually popularized in the
Exactly,
King James.
exactly, yes. Flat, maybe later you can bring, I'll send you the speech I'll be providing today, so maybe later you can bring some links and some stuff on screen I'll be talking about. I will just mention, you can find it and you can bring it and share it so people will have some insight. You can go this way.
Oh yeah, that long email you sent.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, so all to the so-called Jews, descendants from the bloodlines, but not converts, are related to Judah. Remember, descendants from the bloodlines and not converts are related to Judah. Those individuals are really in the minority of so-called Jews. Majority are converts. Remember about that. All Jews from the old time are Israelites, but majority of Israelites are not Jews. And people mix it. They think that the all Israelites are Jews and the all Jews are Israelites. So they always say that all Jews are Israelites. So that's only one group of Jews Israelites. No, there were only part of groups, like 12 tribes, and later I bring a 13 tribe as well. But I mention about this later a bit. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's difficult for people really to understand that there's tribes involved
yes.
from the Hebrews to be a Jew.
hmm
Um,
And what happened exactly with King James? King James mingled together plenty of tribes. They were Judahites, Judean Canaanites from Edom, from Esau, and so on. And he mixed them all together and he called them Jews. It's not. It's seed of Satan mixed with the God's chosen people. People don't get it because they think that all Jews are God's chosen people. They are not. And I
yeah,
provide evidence for that today.
yeah. I mean, wasn't it supposed to be that they were supposed to wipe out the whole tribe of Cain
Yes,
at
God
a stage,
commanded it.
and they didn't keep to that commandment?
Yes. And God said, even if one survives, nothing will change. So
Mhm.
God commanded because He gave them plenty of time, hundreds of years, to change their behavior because they were sacrificing children and doing very bad things. And
Yeah, if
men and
anybody
women.
remembers, if everybody's heard of the god Molech before,
Mhm.
um, go look it up.
Moloch, yeah, it's
Hmm.
the same entity. So
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
bring it as well, Baal as well. So it's all the same. And from my perspective, all of those old gods are Lucifer. All of those are Satan. It's different names for one entity. That's how I look at it. Okay, so today's so-called Jews, in huge majority, are not Israelites, because that's why you can't have DNA test in the Israel. It's prohibited by their law, because they will find that in DNA you are not from the Israel. You are not from the Israeli tribes. That's why there is so many converts. For example, Netanyahu, he is Polish Jew, Milkowski, and his whole cabinet is from all over Europe. It's not from Israel originally, and they don't have connections to the Israel at all, but they are converts. That's how it is, and they believe not in Torah, but they believe in Talmud. That's the very easy way to recognize if so-called Jews are good or bad. You ask them if they follow the Torah or Talmud, if they support unliving people in Gaza or they don't. If they don't support and they only follow Torah, they are the good ones. The others, they are bad ones. Unfortunately, the huge majority, they are the bad ones. That's an unfortunate situation. And that's a fact, unfortunately. All right. So there was a man named Israel, and he had to pass blessing to Judah to call them God's chosen people. But he never passed blessing to Judah. This man named Israel passed blessing to Joseph, but not Judah. Usually in history, it was normal that the blessing or giving titles or land or wealth, it was always going to the oldest one. But this time it was exception. The younger one was getting blessings and so on. Okay, I see you're checking something now. Yes.
I was just looking at the DNA
Mhm.
thing where they're saying about the law of the DNA.
Mhm.
This is mostly about the citizenship.
Yes. So if you have so-called 0.0001% of Jewish DNA, they will accept you as a Jew, which is very strange. Don't you think so?
Very interesting.
Yeah, that's how it works over there. So that's for repatriation, to coming back from outside to Israel. Yeah, thank you for that. So Judah hated. So there was a Joseph and Judah, and Judah hated Joseph, and he sold him into slavery for silver. Something much like Judah sold Jesus to the so-called Jews. Joseph is the chosen son. Joseph was in slavery because he was sold, but he was so intelligent, he was a very intelligent man, and he was able to rise to the prime minister of Egypt because of his intellect. And Joseph had two sons. It was Ephraim and Manasseh. Joseph passed blessing to both of his sons, and usually it's only one. Usually it was the oldest, but in this case, another exception. He passed to both of his sons. This tribe has been split into two. So in this case, it makes the 13th tribe of Israel, and I believe it's now tribe 13th, which was Judah, and after split, it's Judah and the Benjamin. So that's the 13th tribe of the Israel. It's worth to mention that so-called Jews were worshipping old gods, not capital G, but small g, like for example Baal or Molech, and they were Canaanites. So, for example, Baal was eating the children after the sacrifice had been made to him. Word cannibal comes from Canaan and Baal, Cannibal. That's why we have word today cannibal, because
I
they
was
were,
wondering where cannibal came from.
from Canaanites and the worshippers of Baal. Cannibal. That's the connection. So, like I always like to say, words have meaning. We have to understand and comprehend the definitions of the words. Then we can get into deeper knowledge. So now we can bring as well. I just added that, just going to the stuff and check it. So they were as well worshipping all gods. So just recently we had the Easter, and Easter comes from the Ishtar or Eostre. Different sources say different things. Ishtar, people usually claim it's Ishtar. If they have some knowledge, they usually claim it's Ishtar. But as well, we have taken into consideration Eostre as old goddess of the new life, and they were making sacrifice to those goddesses. So, for example, during the the feast during the time of the worshipping of goddess, the virgins were impregnated on the altar built to worship goddess. After 9 months, baby was born, and when child was 3 months old, was sacrificed during the next Easter. So I think we can remember that the usually eggs on Easter they have red color. Yeah, majority. Of course, they have different colors, but in majority we paint them as a red color. Yeah, dark blue, brown, and so on. So why they have this color? Because those eggs, which they were during the sacrifices and used during the sacrifices, were deep down in the blood of children. That's why today we can observe red eggs. That's the memorandum of the old ways. So still we have plenty of old occult symbolism and the occult behavior in our modern religion. That's unfortunate. Okay, now as well we can see abortions, because it's all about the destroying the life. Because Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, they hate God's creation, so they want to destroy everything. What's better if for them if you unlive the child which has never sinned yet? It's pure and clean. That's why they like so much to unlive small children. So we have, of course, abortions, and we even have now after birth abortion. How is possible? It's just murder. It's not abortion. It's murder. But that's what they do, unfortunately, because they're devil worshippers. So let's go back to the Canaanites from the Esau. I ask you the question: can we call any judge who does not provide just and deserve punishment good judge? I don't think so, because just judge has to provide punishment. For example, you use argument being in court, but look, judge, I unlived this person, but so far I was always great. 99.9999% time I was great, but unfortunately I unlived this person. You still go to jail. It doesn't matter you were great before. Only matters is what you did, and that's 0.0001%. You still have to pay for your sins. Back in the days, God gave them, I mean Canaanites, Esau, the son of Nephilim, and the synagogue of Satan, and the seed of Satan. He gave them hundreds of years to change their ways of living, because they were fornicating. They had the same sex. They were sacrificing children. They were doing very, very bad things, eating
Yeah,
meat.
doing bestiality. They were
Yes,
doing. Let's put it this way: they were doing all the perversions that, as much perversions as possible.
yes, indeed. And God still was giving them a chance to change their ways, but they didn't. So, because God is a just God and a just judge, He had to punish them, because it was way too long. They still didn't obey. They still didn't change their ways. Fortunately, they didn't listen, and God commanded Israelites, real Israelites, excuse me, to punish the Canaanites for their sexual immorality and the child sacrifice. So, do you now understand why God commanded to unlive them and leave nothing alive? Because He said, if you leave anything alive, the old ways will not change. And we know from the scripture that not all of them were wiped. That's the problem, because they survived till today, and their ways survived. And unfortunately, all those converts, they are converting to their ways. They won't tell about this openly. Sometimes they do, because you can clearly hear it from the horse mouth, from the rabbi's mouth, and they speak about it openly, so they confirm it. But people choose somehow not to hear it, not to listen what they are saying about themselves. It's like blind ignorance. Don't want to listen. All right, you're looking for something?
Deuteronomy 20.
Hmm?
When thou goest in the battle against thine enemies and seest horses and chariots with people more than thou, do not be afraid of them. The Lord thy God is with thee, which brought upon thee the land of Egypt. It shall be, when you come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say to them, O hear Israel, you approach this day unto the battle against your enemies, and not let your hearts faint, fear not, and do not tremble, neither ye be terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you and fight against your enemies to save you. And the officers shall speak of the people, saying, What man is there hath built a new house, and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, let he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. And what man is there hath planted a vineyard, and has not yet eaten of it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle, and another man eat of it. I just want to get to a certain place, though.
Maybe 22.
I think it's 20.
No, 20. Only the trees. What the very last one before last one, if I recall.
It's 21, maybe. Sorry, guys, just trying to look for the specific verse.
Which one you want to bring? Maybe I remember.
Slain man. Let me just quickly find. Sorry, I thought it was there.
All right, find it. No worries. So we wait for you, or carry on.
Do not leave in. It is Deuteronomy 20:16. Yes, it's Deuteronomy 20 verse 16.
Do not leave anything alive. Yeah.
Yes, that's what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay, let me quickly get it up.
It's the command straight from God. But unfortunately, we disobeyed. That's why we are in the state as we are now, because we didn't listen to God. And when God says anything, it's only for our benefit. You can question it. You might think it's not correct or even stupid, but never God will do anything against you. Will always, when God always provides information or commandment, it's always for your own benefit. Never changes. It will always
Yeah,
be
yeah.
this way.
Now you see, so this scripture this is what Janusz is trying to give the backstory to this. When God makes a commandment, there's a reason why He makes the commandment,
Yes.
and they didn't keep to this commandment, and it's very clear. God is giving you as inheritance. Do not leave alive anything that breathes. Okay, and
Yep.
what did they do, Janusz? They spared them.
Because they were perverting everything. They were standing against God. They were unliving children, sacrifices, sex, man, woman, cannibalism. What was there? Was drinking blood as well. That's why from where we have so-called vampires. Vampires is not a myth. It's based on people who were back in the days. It just sink into our culture as a
Yeah, you
vampire.
see, the history of vampirism actually comes from people sacrificing children
Yes, exactly.
because they believe that the blood gives it. Hence, adrenochrome,
Yes.
guys,
Yeah.
and it's actually a very sad history to
Yeah.
go and study into. But yeah, the people that Hollywood tries and makes it seem like it's always this vampire falling in love with some beautiful woman, and it's so wrong. That's not
It
what
is. Yeah.
vampirism was about.
Hmm. So maybe now I can speak about the adrenochrome a bit. It's not conspiracy
Yeah, the
theory.
problem is we can't really on YouTube talk about it that much. We
Okay.
just
Okay.
mention it like we did now, but we can't really go into
Right.
detail, unfortunately, because of.
Okay. So look for the oxidation of adrenaline. Then you will understand. It's pure chemical process. You will find it. So, okay, I won't be getting deep into it then. No worries.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know what you mean.
But yeah, just look it up, guys. I'm sure you'll get enough information on it.
Look for yourself or look on my channel.
And think
There's
of the
plenty of,
Black Eye Club.
Black Eye Club, Red Shoes, Adrenochrome. Yeah, there are multiple videos on my channel related to this topic. Black Goo, it's plenty. Transhumanism, it's all related, one and the same. Right. So I will use word Jewish, but I should be using Canaanite, Edomites, Judean, Judahites, but it's just too detailed. So mainly I just focus. I'll be using word Jewish, so-called Jewish, because they are not Jews, but I'll be using this word, so people will be easier to understand. It's not like I'm anti-Jewish, like I said before. I'm anti those people who are against God, and they are doing perverted things, and unliving lot of people, because they claim they are God chosen people, but they are not. And for example, about you and me, they say that we are worse than animals. Even the best of us should be unlived. That's their own words, not mine words. Listen to the people who are talking about you, what they think about you, then you will understand.
Hmm. But I mean, this is the same with Islam.
Yes, indeed.
The same people trying to fight for the Islamists are the
Hmm.
same people who would literally be killed or unalived, as you'd say,
Hmm.
for their belief system.
Yes.
That's why I find it so ironic that you get these LGBTQ people trying to support Hamas, which is literally Hamas will unalive them
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
because they're alive.
Yep.
It's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. And Israeli IDF and Mossad, they embrace LGBTQ. That's the thing,
Hmm.
because there is plenty of gay lesbians in their army, multiple. So that's why you see God prohibits it, but they embrace it. You see,
It's
it's
perversion.
exactly perversion. Yeah, that's what they do. The problem with the so-called Jewish deception is that they are hijacking the Bible, and it's depends of stealing the names Semites, Hebrew, Israelites, and so on. And because Hebrew and Semites and Israelites are not the same, but people tend to mix them and think it's all the same. It's not. I don't want to go into very deep details. Just look yourself into it, and you will understand. You will comprehend where you have been lied to, and how deception works. Right. Let's go to Moses now. Moses wrote first 5 books of Torah, not Talmud, Torah,
Torah.
which is Old Testament, which is Genesis,
I
Exodus.
think I
Yes.
th- I think we should tell them the difference between the Talmud and the Torah because a
All
lot
right.
of people think it's the same thing.
No, it's not. Torah is the Old Testament, and Talmud, it's their behavior and the things which they were doing,
It's more
their way of
commentary.
life. Sorry?
Yeah, the Talmud's more commentary by
Yes,
the
exactly.
The
Yes.
Jews.
But if you really go through the Talmud, you will see it's Luciferian book, because the thing they promote over there, they will uh, literally boil your blood when you read it. Just don't believe me. Read it by yourself. Don't want to bring verses, because the people will be telling me, "Oh no, it's not true. It's lie and so on. You're anti-Jewish, anti-Semite and so on." No, read from the source, from their own source. Then you won't be accusing me that I'm anti-Jewish or whatever BS you think. So always go to the source. Don't listen to me. Don't believe me. Check by yourself. That's always the best way. Okay, so like I mentioned before about Torah. So yeah, in shortly I have explained what was the difference. So Torah it's combined of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Um, and the Torah was not from the tribe of Judah. That's why they follow the Talmud, not Torah. Some of them they do follow Torah, but it's minuscule thing. People think that all of them they follow Torah. No, huge majority, I would say 95%, 98%, follow only Talmud. You have to understand. You have to make a comparison between Torah and Talmud by yourself, and then you will see who they are. Talmud and Mask. Okay, let's go through it.
The Talmud Unmasked is The Secret Rabbinical Teachings Concerning Christians is a book published in 1892 by Justinus Bonaventure Pranatrius. The book is a collection of purported quotations from the Talmud and Zohar that are claimed to demonstrate that Judaism despises non-Jews and promotes the murder of inquiry of non-Jews in some instances. Pranatrius drew on the earlier works of Jacob Ecker and August Rolling. Scholars classify the Talmud Unmasked as an anti-Semitic and anti-Talmudic work, comparable to Talmud, Jur, August Rolling, and the traditions of Jews. Okay, the presentation of the book, it says Jews do not regard non-Jews as human beings. The Talmud contains
Yes, volume.
blasphemies against Jesus and offensive passages about Christians. Judaism despises non-Jews. The Talmud urges Jews to vary of harms to Christians such as murder and theft, and teaches to each other death of a Christian serves the This kind of sounds a lot like Islam, to be honest.
Yeah,
And which would hasten arrival of Jewish Messiah.
because
It sounds just like Islam.
because Islam, I've heard this phrase quite a while ago. Islam is a brew. It's a brew of Judaism.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, it's connected.
And by the way, guys, we're not promoting this book. We're just bringing it up to show you that people have written about this before. So the portion of the book is chapter 1 says Christians unworthy to associate with Jews. Christians are unclean. Christians are idolaters. Christians are evil. Wow. Christians are all exterminated. Christians to be harmed indirectly by not helping them, by interfering of their work, by deceit and legal matters. Quite hectic stuff.
Yeah, that's what they've been taught from the very early age. If they go to school, they've been taught that the old world is going against them. All the world want to unlive them. That's what they've been taught when they're children at school. That's why they are being programmed since very early age, and they been taught as well that God chosen people, and all other want to unlive them, and all of us are animals, and we are the worst than any creature. So that's their way, not my way, not Flat's way. It's their way. That's how they see us.
Wow. Quite hectic. But have you read the Talmud though?
I did, yeah, I did.
Is there parts of it that you would say are quite hectic?
Oh, a lot, yes. I can bring the quotes if you want, but it will take a lot of time, So I need to find it because I have listed them all. So it's quite a long list.
Okay. Interesting.
And maybe better if I even bring quotes from the provided by the Jewish scholars and the so-called famous Jewish people. All of them, they are based on the Talmud. So you understand their way of approaching us, what they think about us. So
Okay.
I can do it later. All right. Yeah. Okay. So, Moses. Let's go back to Moses. Moses was not part of Kingdom of Judea, but yet people call him Jew. I tell you again, there was no
He was
name
a
Jew before.
Hebrew.
Yeah. He was not a Jew, but that's why people
Yeah,
use,
but
Hebrew, Israelite, Jews. There was not even name a Jew at that time, so it
yeah,
couldn't be a
because
Jew.
wasn't Abraham the father of many nations? That's where the Israelites came from.
Yes,
And and Moses was a Hebrew.
yes, exactly. Abraham name was originally Abram, but the God changed his name to Abraham. That was by God, because originally his name was Abram. You can bring it if you want. You can find it. There should be a lot of info about it.
Which one was I put in?
Abram changed name to Abraham.
Oh yeah,
There
Abraham.
should be some info.
Okay. Genesis 17, verse 5.
don't have in my hand
Okay.
all of the quotes supporting what I claim. That's why I'm asking
Interesting.
you to bring it. I just remember those things.
Okay. Okay. No longer will your name be called Abram. Your name will be Abraham, for I have made you a father of many nations.
Yes, exactly. And for Abraham, it's very important to watch this video. Still proofs, 100 proofs that the Israelites were white. And I bring like a first 10 of 100. So to make a connection. But really, I encourage you to watch it. I provide later link to this video. And I think Brad
Is
and
it
Tasha
this link
already.
you put in there in the Odyssey link?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to watch some of that, or?
No, it's just too long, man. It's 14 hours, so
Yeah, it's quite
it's very
hectic. Okay,
long.
so I'm going to put the link then for everybody in the
Mm-hmm.
chat.
I will drop it. Should
I've
be
got it.
some.
I've got it. I've got it.
You have it, okay.
There we go.
And,
There's the link for his video,
mm-hmm.
the documentary.
14 hours, 17 minutes exactly. So it's 100 proofs.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very long one, and it's really make a lot of sense. It's exactly against the so-called Jews. So it's supporting white people, because all whites came from the Israel, the land of Israel, and the one who follow Christ and God, they are Israelites, the real one.
But the thing is, would you not say that there are not all Jews are just white, because obviously people have had relationships with
Yeah.
different races and stuff. So
Yeah.
you get, for instance, now Caribbean Jews, you
Yes,
get
yeah, of course.
Iranian
But
Jews, you get
yeah,
so.
what I'm talking about, that the people who were God chosen people that time, they moved to different parts of the world, and they were mixing, and different color of skin and so on. So I'm talking about the
Like the
about
Europeans, actually, is that what you're trying to
yes,
say?
yeah, Europeans. But look,
Because
Europeans.
I know a lot of Polish people are actually by birth Jewish as well.
Yeah,
Hebrew,
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
actually.
In Poland during Second War, we had the biggest Jewish society in the Europe. There was no country like Poland. We had the highest numbers in Poland. I think that's why mainly the men with the mustache gone first to the Poland. That was one of the reasons. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we can bring now this 100 proofs that the Israelites were white. Just 10 examples for 100. Number one, the origins and migrations of the European people. Two, the laws of God are everywhere in Europe civilization and were brought by them to different lands, like for example America, Australia, Africa, and so on and so forth. So I'm just talking about the core root. I'm not saying that the blacks cannot be God's people and so on. No. I'm just talking that the beginning, when the people became God's chosen people, and later it spread to the whole world. So people say, "Oh, you're anti-black, you whatever," No, I'm not saying that at all. You have to understand the beginning, when the people were God chosen people, this group, and they were Judahites, not Judean Canaanites. They were God chosen people, and they spread it across the world.
Because what I do, that's actually, because I was thinking about this the other, like a few weeks ago, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get a lot of people that, because there's a lot of things going around saying that Jesus wasn't actually white or whatever. Not that it matters, but what was bothering me about this was, I don't know if you've seen some. There's a few. There was a few children that's actually had near death experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and they say they saw Jesus. And when, like, this one girl, she painted Jesus and she painted him as a white man.
Yeah, yeah.
And it doesn't make sense that Jesus would, how can I say,
Would
present
be
himself to as a
as a
white
white.
man if
I
he
get
wasn't
you.
white.
Yeah, Jesus
So
was white,
yeah,
but later
but that's what I'm
people
saying. I don't. Nobody's caring about if what
color
color
the
the
skin.
skin
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
The point we're just trying to make is, isn't it possible they're trying to pervert and change God's image because they have an agenda behind it?
100%.
Hence why you get the black Israelites today.
Yeah, yeah. And we have taken into consideration that the temperatures at the atmosphere was different at the time when Christ was on Earth. So the climate changed not because of the people and the CO2, like they're trying to push the climate hoax, but climate has changed itself. That's nature. We had the very hot time on Earth, and we have very cold time on Earth. It just changes. That's the circles. So, and Jesus was white, and later all those people moved to the Europe, because it's one of the points as well, which is from 100 examples. Or maybe I'll just keep reading, so I will come to it. Number 3, all European nations and countries were Christian at the time. Jacob's seed to spread across the world. That's the one exactly. So, and God promised it, that the Jacob seed will spread across the world. That's what happened. Next one is to be known as sons of God and called by a new name. New name? Christianity. There was no this name used before. It came after Christ. That's why it's a new covenant. It's a new name. It's God chosen people, Christians. Number 6, Israel, God's chosen people, was to have a new home, to be primarily found to the northwest. If you check on the map, you will find the Europe is northwest of old Israel, and it's in a line. What happened when people migrated from Israel, old Israel, to the Europe. Next one, the meaning of Hebrew word is Adam. All right, Hebrew is Adam, like Adam and Eve. You can pull it off if you want.
I actually found something quite interesting
Okay, bring it.
about the Jews and Judaism. It's like what you were saying with the lineage coming from Abraham.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
Jews
was
and yeah.
there was a split, but go on with the.
Yeah, like it says, Jews are an ancient people with a long history. The Bible tells us their origins more than 4,000 years ago. The Old Testament, which includes 5 books of Moses, that's what you were saying, and sets forth the 10 Commandments, come to the world through the Jewish people. Judaism itself is a religion. There are Jews who may not observe the religion but still identify as Jews ethnically or culturally. While most Jews are born into Jewishness because of their mothers and for some movements within Judaism,
Yes, to
their
be a
fathers. Like
real
you
Jew,
say.
for example, if you are convert, they won't treat you as equal, because the real Jew in their eyes is the one who is born from Jewish mother. If you have, let's say, Muslim mother or Christian mother, but father is a Jew, you won't be considered as equal, because the Jewishness comes from the mother. That's in their own laws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it says some people decide to convert to Judaism through the process of order to do so. Being a Jew is not race, it revolves around feelings of peoplehood, ethnicity, and religion. There is a dynamic difference between where one element may be strongly felt at times and another in other times. The Jewish people derive from the family. They are of the offspring of the biblical figures Abraham and Sarah and their children and grandchildren. This gives most Jews common origin according to the Bible and archaeological evidence. The Jews settled in around what is now Israel. However, due to anti Semitism, they were expelled from the homeland in ancient history, and were dispersed throughout the world. Thus, Jews
Sorry,
established
I need to
communities in
interrupt
many
you.
different places.
It
Yeah?
wasn't because anti-Semitism, because being Semite is 12 tribes. So it means if someone is anti-Semite, it means he has to be anti-everyone. So you have to be as well anti-European, anti-American, anti-Australian, anti-New Zealand, and so on, because those tribes spread across the world. And
Yeah, but
unfortunately, because they hijack everything and they operate in a realm of deception, they only say being anti-Semite is anti-Jewish. It's not the same. There are two different things.
yeah, because if you learn the history, though, the only reasons the Hebrews or the Israelites that time was expelled from Israel was due to the Romans who conquered Israel. It
Yes.
wasn't anti-Semitism. It was they were conquered
Yes.
and they overthrew and built. They claimed Israel as their city.
Yeah.
That's why, and that was due to the disobedience to God.
Yes. And we have to take under consideration. It's historical fact. Check it yourself. Don't trust me. So-called Jews were kicked 109 times. Sorry, were kicked from 109 countries in a number of 1,031 times. Can you imagine that? So
That's
now,
crazy.
let's think about it. Let's say you go to the pub, and 109 pubs, the owners kicking you out in total 1,031 times. Would you say that's the fault of the owners of pubs, or maybe you are wrong and bad guy?
Well, that's
The
the
answer is
thing.
very simple.
There is very possible to just have a hatred towards a certain type of people. So with that, I would say it's a different thing. Like what I'm trying to make is what this article is saying. The reason the Israelites were dispelled or exiled from Israel was due to anti-Semitism. That wasn't the fact. It was the fact they were overthrown. They were the Romans. They, how can I say, they took over. So it
Yes.
wasn't based on anti-Semitism. There was no such thing as anti-Semitism yet.
Mhm.
Um,
Because they
now,
have to be anti everyone else, every other tribe, but they were only anti them. But
yeah,
unfortunately, they incorporate this phrase only for themselves. That's the
yeah,
deception.
yeah. And the thing is, there's no such thing as anti-Christian, and the Christians are the most persecuted
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
out there.
Hmm.
Have you ever guys wondered why they don't have an anti-Christian kind of saying? Because Christians get murdered and killed every single day for their faith.
Yep.
Thousands upon thousands of Christians get murdered daily just because they're Christian.
Exactly.
You don't hear anything about that.
Those, if there will be introduced seven or high law, we will be prosecuted and will be beheaded because we are considered as a not believing in God, in real God, because for them, the real God is in Judaism. So Christianity, it's devil worshipping according to them. So there is a nice phrase, I use it, I think Max Igan was using that. Accusation is combined of accusation and confession. So whenever they accuse someone of something, they accuse him, but they confess their own sin. They always mirror their own things into the other people. That's what they do. Like in the Gaza, and they supposedly were attacked. I'll bring later a few videos. I'll give you links so you can check by yourself what really happened there.
Yeah. But anyway, what they were saying is, which I do agree with, the ancient history were dispersed throughout the world. Thus, Jews established communities in many different places. Thus explains why there are Jews of many nationalities and diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds.
Yes.
Often these communities have unique, that's what we're saying. But you're saying the original roots were white
Yeah.
because Abraham was actually white.
Mhm. But we still have to make a disconnection between so-called Jews, between Israelites, and between Canaanites, because Canaanites, this new uh, group of Jews, they are following old laws, Canaanites, which God was standing against, was commanding us to not leave nothing alive, because they were of the devil. So you have to understand that. That's from God, not from me. That's the
Mm-hmm.
truth. Because they are seed of Satan. And I bring later even King James, Revelation 2:9, 3:9, and so on. So I give you the scripture to support what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then what it says, this is so, yeah, quite true. Abraham, the founding father of the Jewish people, introduced the world to monotheism. Because the thing is, in those days, paganism was a big thing with having multiple gods.
Yes, indeed.
And he did bring up to understand that there is only one God. And the belief came into Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, which
Yes.
is the only really three monotheistic really belief systems out there, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I laugh when the Islamists call Christianity not monotheism, when you say, okay, because of the Trinity, because they don't understand it's still one God. They still think it's three gods, but it's only one God.
Yes. 3 persons, 1 in essence.
Uh-huh.
So say, what is that? 1 plus 1 plus 1. It's
No,
3.
it's one
So they
and
say,
one and one.
yes, or 1 multiply 1 multiply 1. It's still 1. Like
Exactly.
I use this argument. I am man. I have the soul and I have a spirit. It's 3 in 1, but I'm still 1.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
simple. The same as a family. There is mother, father, and child. It's one family, but 3 people. The same.
Exactly. It's quite self-explanatory. I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand that concept there.
Yeah, there is a plenty. I had a recently talk on the YouTube with the woman. She was saying that the Christ is not God, but when I bring to her, someone replied that at the beginning there was a word. Word was of God, not
Mhm.
word was God. He added of God. I was like, I know, Bible prohibits to change anything or add anything or remove anything. So now you are not Christian because in purpose you are perverting the Bible. This word of there is none in the Bible, but you're adding that. I don't know. You don't understand. I do. I really do.
Quite a cool video that Brad also put up now. The letter to Caesar describes Jesus' color and face,
All right, I will check it later.
which is really good about that letter as well. That describes Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection as well.
I watch it later. Thank you for that. All
Quite
right,
good.
maybe let's go back to the points.
Yeah.
Okay, point number 8. It was the Adamic nations that emerged from Noah. No, Noah flood, Noah's Ark, and so on. That Adamic nations from Adam. 9. Christ came only for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So the lost sheep. That's my opinion. I can't really support it, but that's my opinion. That's why Christ has chosen to come from the tribe of Judah, because he was from the tribe of Judah. And later tribe Judah split into the Judah and Benjamin. So he was trying to change their ways because Judeans, they were Canaanites. He was trying to change their names. We know it didn't work, unfortunately, because they still kept their own ways. That's what I mentioned about that. Okay, number 10. Bible prophesied that Israel would have new language. Looks like probably it's English. That's maybe there will be another language, but for now looks like it's in English. And mainly it was propagated by the King's Bible, which I don't agree with fully, but it's
Would you have
mainly, yeah.
Would you have the scripture on hand for that?
Oh no, I just remember those things. We can.
If we can
Oh,
search
okay. Let me check it.
Zephaniah 3 verse 9. At the time I will change the speech of the peoples to pure speech, and of them I will call upon the name of the Lord and serve him with one accord.
Yeah, that's why there's another reason why I'm not really fully convinced that it's English. It's because it's supposed to be pure speech, and English is double speak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
English
so
has a lot of issues.
yes, that's why I'm not fully convinced. Like remember that I was speaking with a guy that he was talking about that the new language and it's English. I was like, oh no, I don't want to argue. Remember I mentioned I don't want to argue with you because it's maritime law, admiralty law, and double speak.
Well, it could be Hebrew though. You never know.
Could be. This one I would really need to look into it. But maybe another language even later. I don't know, but English maybe. That's how it looks
Because if
like.
you look at languages and if you have like really big symbolism and meanings behind words, I think Hebrew is one of the top languages
Yeah,
out there that's the
still.
purest to symbolism.
Yeah, it is. It is. English is not. You can really operate on different levels. Legality or common language, totally different definitions. So it's very confusing sometimes.
Yeah.
Even if it's easy to learn, but legality, it's next level. You can trust me on that. All right. So you posted. I was going to post the link now for this 100. Maybe I posted.
Yeah, we
again.
already put it on. Yeah.
I put for you guys again, so we can watch it later. Watch it. It's 17 hours. You will love it. I'm telling you, you will love it. You learn a lot from this. I watched it all, and exactly it supports what I'm talking about today. So, right. Okay, I mentioned about this. Right, maybe we should go to the words which are important for them, which they are using. Like, for example, goim. So, according to the old meaning, the ones who do not follow God's law, but man-made laws, governments. So goims were the one who were listening to the governments, what governments were saying, their kings, their rulers, and so on, their archons. Because back in the day, the ruler in the ancient Greece was called archon. And that's why we have now word which sounds anarchist, because anarchist comes from the word archon. Let me explain. So the guy who had a ruler was called archon. Guy without ruler was called an archon, without ruler. And from word an archon comes an anarchist. Anarchist, the one who does not have ruler. That's what anarchy really stands for. You don't want to have rulers over your head. And my freedom ends, you are free to do anything. But my freedom ends where your nose starts. That's it. It's very simple. Excuse me. It's very simple. Do no harm. That's very basic. So I consider myself an anarchist. I'm not willing in purpose to harm anyone in any shape or form. But if they stand on my toes and they want to fight me, I fight back, because God commanded me. I can't protect myself, and I always do that, since always. Right, so that's the going.
Because I don't understand why people are always trying to think we're trying to attack anyone with anything.
No, we're just stating the facts, how it was presented in history. So if you have us heard because you have been indoctrinated, that's not a problem. Facts do not care about your feelings. If you feel this way, this is your problem, not mine. Sorry. It's very simple. I've said before, to be offended is a choice. I cannot be offended. You
Well,
choose to
Janusz,
be
just put it
offended.
this way: if
Yes,
a person feels offended by what you're saying, are they able to contact you or me, and they can come on and they can share why they're offended?
exactly. They can, yeah. But usually they can't explain their emotions, because in the emotional level, not factual level.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they don't have any things to how can I say, counter what was said, because what was presented is just history.
Exactly. So if they want to come with the facts, look, of course I could be wrong on some things. I did a deep dive for many decades into those things. So I'm nearly 100% certain what I'm talking about is the truth. I could be wrong, of course. Anyone can be wrong. So if you have another information which exactly say opposite what I say, provide your sources, and I will change my mind, of course. I'm not a cow. Does not change my mind.
Yeah.
We are learning.
We're
But
humble enough to say if
yeah,
we're wrong.
of course, I was more times wrong than I would like to be. But only this way you can learn, because I'm willing to admit I was wrong, and then I can grow, and then I can change my perspective, because
Hmm.
I'm trying not to be in my own bubble of thoughts and keep it as it is, as I have learned, as I have been indoctrinated. No, only this way, when you are willing to open your mind, look at things from the wider perspective, and take under consideration that maybe someone lied to you, and you pick up this lie and spread his lie, maybe then you'll find the truth. You have to be open.
Yes. Okay. See, we've kind of skipped by quite a lot of things already, because we've spoken about most of the things on the list already.
Yeah, I skip some, yeah. but I come back to them, because I mentioned I think a few times about the same things because they are in connection. So that could be the case, right? So now we were speaking about the goyim. So they exactly always historically they're accusing other people of what they are doing themselves. So if you shed a light on someone, you're staying in the shadow. That's how they hide, because they're deceivers. That's synagogue of Satan. They are always lying about everything and anything, because they are commanded by their own Talmud to lie to you, because you are beneath animal. So that's their way. Don't say me I'm anti-Semite. That's their own way. That's what they teach their children. That's what's in their books. So I'm just quoting their books. That's it. Oh, thank you, David. I'm trying my best. I'm not perfect, never will be. It's impossible to be perfect, but it doesn't mean I should not try. So even if I know I will fail, anyway. Right. So what they do now, for example, in Gaza, they claim they were attacked, and now they have to defend themselves. But when defending themselves, they are flattening down all Gaza, and they are removing people from there. Majority, but I think it's around 70%, is a people below 18 years old. Majority are children, because the adults were already unlived. So now they're bombing. Majority are children, unfortunately.
Problem is that the people are in the middle of it from both sides. So both sides are the same problem from the same coin. They're just different sides of the same coin. So they get it from both.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the one wants to blame the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually the problem with any society today. I mean, any government's that way as well. No matter where you live. At the end of the day, all citizens are just pawns in the game.
Yes, we are. We have to now go to the root of the word government. It's combined of the two phrases, governo, mentis. It's combined Latin and Greek. Governo, to rule, mind, mentis, mind, to rule your mind. That's what it means. The same television, tell a lie, a vision. Telling you a lie, and then because you believe this lie, you have a vision. So, like I said before, words have meaning. That's why we have programs on TV. Why? Because they are programming you and me to think in a certain way. And words are spells. That's why we can say that the word is mightier than sword. It's from maritime law, Black's Dictionary, Ballantyne Dictionary. If you switch letter from the sword to the from the words to from the end s to the front, word becomes sword. Yes, you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Words, you move letter from the
Like a
end
two-edged
front,
sword. That's why
sword.
it's
Yes,
look at it this way. That's why words are very powerful because it attacks a person spiritually and emotionally. So
that's
words
true.
can either break a person or lift a person.
Yes, that's why we have spelling. When we are going by letters in the word, it's spelling. Why? Because we are casting spells. That's why words have meaning. And what they do, they're casting those spells where? On channels. They are channeling those spells, and they program you. That's how it goes. Television. It's very simple. It's very powerful. People don't see it, unfortunately. That's sad, but
This is also why I don't like the mainstream songs today because the words are really quite perverted and wrong, and the people sing with it is like, oh, and they don't understand. The more they're singing it, they're kind of talking it into existence.
they do.
They
If
don't
you,
realize that.
Mhm. I can show you the video when the guy is talking about the places where they are creating before the vinyls and the later CDs and so on. They were literally praying over the vinyls and they were casting spells on that. So why they would do that? If God does not exist, if demons do not exist, why they are casting spells?
It's the same as when this is why I have an issue with halal food because it's very important, guys. This is why it's very important to pray over your food before you eat the
Yes.
blessing food, because most of the food you get today are halal. And how the Muslims do for halal, they how can I say it? They sacrifice it to Allah
Yeah.
before they kill it. So they do it in a humane manner, they call it, but it's in a sacrifice to their God. So it
Yes.
puts a curse over the food.
Hmm.
So it's very important when you eat your food, you just pray over it and ask God, the true God, the Christian God, Jesus, to bless it for a reason, because His word is stronger than their word. That's why Janusz is saying words have power.
Meaning, yes. If you look, for example, on experiment when there was frozen water and people were swearing at water, you can see that the shape of water, you can find it. That's
I'm
a very
gonna
good
trick you
video.
get it.
I
It's
have it on my channel.
crazy.
Yeah, crazy as it sounds, as the truth. That's why we do not pray any longer in homes, during feast, during supper, during dinner with the family. Before we were praying, and we were always blessing food and blessing God. And we don't do that anymore, because why? Words have meaning, and the words are frequency. With the emotions, we can change even the poisonous food, poisonous water, the clean one. Yeah, try find the video. I just can't remember the title.
I'm trying to. I gotta try to find it. I haven't seen it in such a long time. Uh, the is it not Dr. Emoto's water experiment? Positive and negative. Yes, I think this is one of the things. Dum, dum, dum. Words can heal or words can hurt. What did yours do? Look at this. Harmony. Look at the shape. Okay. This is like different sounds that they were, like positive and negative kind of things. They're saying thank you, and this is how it came out. It's quite hectic. But I mean, I saw the same thing happen with plants, where
Yes,
they
with
take
the
different types of music and play it to plants.
yeah.
Like if they take, for instance, heavy metal, the plant
Hmm.
grows differently
Yeah.
compared to the plant with classical music
Hmm.
and the plant with just cinematic. Everything, even people have taken plants and spoken differently to the
Yeah.
one. The guy would be
Below
swearing
has
at
no,
it and
yes.
being negative,
They even grow
and
better.
the other one would say, "Oh, I love you, grow beautiful, be all positive and stuff."
Yeah,
That one that was positive speaking grew much quicker
quicker and better and
and
higher.
more abundantly than the one that was negatively spoken to.
You know why? Because majority of the plant or a man or woman it's water. So we are based water.
Memory
So
based.
yeah. Yeah. Geronimo, I know French. I know it's in French language as well. That's why I just provide for you the government, Greek and Latin combined, consists of two parts: govern, kuberna from Greek, and it's to rule, to guide, and the Latin mente. So exactly in French, ment is from mente Latin. So it's mente is mind, thought. So you've gone deep, but not deep enough yet, my friend. Latin was before French language.
Yes.
It's good that you are chipping in, but okay, I don't want to argue with you. All right, let's go back to the. Let me find it now.
Latin at a stage was one of the main languages as well.
Yes, and Latin was replaced by English.
That's where English comes from, actually.
No, English comes from the Proto-Germanic languages.
Yeah, but wasn't it watered down through Latin?
No, it was a lot of yeah, in a way, because Latin than French, and then a lot of French influence, and then a lot of French words came from the French language to English. Then some French words were obsolete, but then they introduced again from English language to French language. It's like a circle,
You do get a lot of French words that just don't make sense.
Yeah. For example,
Kite.
yeah, computer, computer, compute, but French, l'ordinateur. From where? Because French, they always have to have their own way to say about anything, because they are proud of their language. So, for example, when I was in France, majority of them could speak French language, but they never want to use it because they want to speak French. So there was only situation when they use English, when they're coming to me, ask me, sorry, do you have cigarette? Then they ask, in English, when they know that you don't know French. Then they use, but they know English, because they are taught in school. But they prefer to just use French. I get it in a way.
Okay. Hello, still there?
Let me go back because I lose track of it. I need to find it where I was.
Okay.
Just give me a second.
No stress. Good to see everybody still in. Yeah, this is quite a hectic subject. It's not for everybody, for sure. But please just press the likes and hit the shares because it really, really does help the show to grow.
All right, I remember I was speaking about
Appreciate
going. Yeah. Right. So look, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Don't have to agree with me. I don't care. I have my perspective. You have yours. We can agree that we disagree. That's what it is. All right. Let's go back now to the Edom. Before we had the Amalek. Now let's speak about Edom. That's why Edomites, Canaanites. That's one and the same. People think that the Edomites and Canaanites are different. No, it's one and the same. Just different names, different time. That's it. So Edom, those are fallen angels, Nephilim, giants. After the flood, they came back as a Canaanites. So there were Edomites, and then there were Canaanites. After flood, they came back as a Canaanites. It's one and the same. Still, they're keeping the same bloodlines. Canaanites, it's important to do not mix Cain and Abel. That's not the same. not from the Cain. Yeah, it's not the same story. So they were descendants of Noah's grandsons. Noah had 3 sons: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Canaan was the son of Ham. Canaan is the bad guy, and all giants descend from him. They were nearly wiped out during the flood, but unfortunately, not all of them. The Bible is very specific that they were not fully wiped out. I can't remember the verse, but I know it's in the Bible. Abraham, I've mentioned about that God changed his name to Abraham. He had a lot of blessings from God. God told him that many nations will come from him. That's why we are descendants of Abraham. And Europeans and so on, descendants straight line from the Abraham, exactly. And like I mentioned before, God changed his name from the Abraham to Abraham. He had a son. His son was named Isaac, and he was told that he will be a great man. It's in Scripture as well. We have a lot of prophecies about him. Isaac had a brother whose name was Ishmael, and from Ishmael, that's the ones who now we call Arabs. It's later time. People of the Old Testament, that's the people of Israel in ancient times, not of a place. God's chosen people. You have to take into consideration. Israel is like a covenant with the Christ. It's new Israel, not the land. Israelites, the one who God has chosen, because he divorced his old covenant, old bride, and created new one. So the old one were Canaanites, because before they were chosen by him, but because they transgressed against him and they were still doing bad things, he divorced them. All right. God's chosen people are descendants of Isaac. Israel there was a name Israel, and his name was changed to Jacob. Jacob's brother Esau is hated by God even before he was born. It is well in the scripture. I can't remember the verse, but it's scripture 100%. You can look into it if you want.
Well, just quickly go. Actually, got an article here. Where it says, remember we read Deuteronomy earlier, where God commanded them to destroy everything of the Canaanites.
Yeah,
They
including
said,
children.
even so, the Israelites failed to follow God's commandment. They did not drive the Canaanites out of the land, but instead followed their example, falling into immorality
Adultery.
and idolatry. And there's the verses for that. God's commandment was not only judgment on the Canaanites, but also measure meant to protect his people and their relationship with him. And this is exactly why there is issues, because God knew what's going to happen if they didn't obey the commandment.
Yeah, and they didn't. So look, I'm saying, oh, it's just one bad apple, you know. You're looking at the things in the wrong way. Look, you have basket of good apples. You put there one rotten apple. What will happen with the rest of the apples? They'll be rotten. So the good apples won't influence rotten apple to become good one. It's always other way around.
Well, this is one thing I've also heard where especially with some of the atheists, where they try and fight against Christianity, and they bring up again Molech, and they're like, why did God, is he an evil God because he said kill all the Canaanites because of
it
this?
was just God.
Yeah, because of judgment. Okay.
Yes.
But they don't understand that if you don't remove all, let's put it into another analogy. Let's say you get poisoned or you get bitten by a snake, okay, a deadly snake, and you don't remove all the venom. What happens? It spreads further, okay, and it then infects the rest of the body. Now, the same with that. If you're not going to remove all the perversion away, it's just going to spread to the other parts that are not perverted yet. And this is exactly what was going on. So the Canaanites, you can see, is like a virus. They were spreading all over, their perversions and their idolatrous and all the things that the bloodline from Canaan came. By the way, that's where the Antichrist bloodline comes from, just to let you guys know. So if they did what God said to do, we would have a totally different future by now. Do you know that?
And we will have different reality, than we face now. Yeah.
We would have a different reality.
Yeah.
Because even Islam, like you said, it came out of the bloodline of Canaan.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of a different future we would have had right now if they just obeyed God. But because they didn't obey God, the disobedience, that's perversion and idolatrous and all that things that are not of God, spread out to the places that did not have it.
Yes.
How many? I mean, let's for instance take Iran, for instance, today. That was just a Christian place. It was majority Christian. Now it's majority Islam. Why? Because it spread. What happens is the perversion spreads. It all, like I'm just trying to explain it like a cancer cell. If it's once there, if you don't get it removed fully, it spreads to the rest, which is healthy. And that's exactly what the Canaanites' bloodline unfortunately was.
Yeah.
Because God understood what's going to happen if it's not fully removed.
That's why when someone says that the God is genocidal, maniac, and so on, no, because you don't understand the scripture. You are using just sound bites because you do not have knowledge. That's why I don't have, I don't know everything, but I know a few things. So that's why I'm trying to share with you. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me. Right. So, Jacob's brother, his name Esau again, he's hated by God even before he was born. So how it happened? He was hated by God before he was born. God, he hated him that before he was born. It's a very, very, very serious thing.
I don't
He knew
I
what
don't
he
know
would
if the people
become.
really know the story of Esau. Maybe you want to explain it quickly. Come back now.
Right. Now we wait for the flood. Couple of seconds. Yeah, hopefully flood will be back soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
back now.
we're
Sorry, I
back.
just wanted to.
Yeah. There was some passages, and I figured out from the Bible that the God probably hated him because he knew he has mixed his blood with the giants, which they are abomination, and gods hate abominations because they are not of him; they are of the Satan. That's why God hates. God is not only love and joy. God is as well just judge. So God hates perversion. God is not only love. God provides punishment when you deserve it. That's what just judge has to do, and he is just. You have to punish. He has to punish bad things because he wouldn't be just if he wouldn't do that. It's a very simple concept. The same like I said before about the just judge in the court system. The same thing, but the God is much bigger, much better. Right. So the further those that were created European looking demons. That's the straight from the bloodline of Esau and the Nephilim and the giants and the abominations and so on. Parents of Jacob and Esau were warning them not to make up with the Canaanites, but they did. And God said it, you can't mix it. Don't mingle with them, but they did. That's the problem, because again, they didn't listen to the God. And what was the name? It was Synonym. It means the infiltrator. If you look now, for example, in the USA, we are calling them Zionists, yes? And now U.S. government is owned by the Zionists. Even what was the name of the last president? Biden. He said himself, he's not a Jew, but he's Zionist. They're infiltrators. They have infiltrated the American government. Each guy, each politician from the definitely Republican Party, but I assume as well Democratic Party as well. I call them Republicans and demon rats. Doesn't matter on who you vote for, because the main agenda is always pushed ahead. Everything. So okay, they are different in the minuscule things, which really doesn't make big difference for you because you still pay taxes. They're still rising taxes. Doesn't matter which party.
Yeah, it's still this. That's what I
It's still the
said.
same.
It's the same, just different sides of the same coin.
Yeah, I call it two wings of the same bird of prey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, left wing versus right wing. Two wings, but one head. Heads and tails. It's all the same. Divide and conquer. Very simple. Sun Tzu, Art of War. The oldest. One of the
Yeah,
oldest.
just because they have some different views on how to run things doesn't mean that the end goal is the same.
Yep. Unfortunately, that's politics. Politics. Many ticks. They're going everywhere. Yeah. Politics. They have plenty of arms. Yeah. Because words have meaning. That's how it is. So let's go further. Nation of Edom was conquered by the tribe of Judah. The king of Judah was called John Hyrcanus. John Hyrcanus the First. It was just before Christ came to earth. They beat Edomites, in Greek called Adumaean, and they merged Judah and Idumea into Judea. So they had already mixes from those descendants of the Nephilim and the old bloodlines, synagogue of Satan, seed of Satan, and so on. It's already not pure blood. Yeah. So now we have to make a distinction between Judean Edomites and Judean Judahites. That's important, because Edomites, the bad one, Judahites, the good one. Edomites, which now are being called Jews. That's the name. That's the one, unfortunately. That's what the Bible says. It's not me, that's the Bible. So Edomites, Edom, Esau, and so on are being now called so-called Jews. Those who say they are Jews, but they are not, but do lie. From Scripture as well. Judean Judahites like Jesus and the Judean Judamites, Idumeans, they are not from the good bloodline, but pretend to be. From the Judean Idumenites came Pharisees. Jesus said they are not Israelites. It's a John, you can pick up maybe now, John 8:33 to 44. Flat, can you put it, please?
John.
Yes, John 33 to 44. They are infiltrators, Seonim. That's from where this word comes from. I'm aware of. If there is different meaning, let me know. But that's what I remember. Seonim, infiltrators. That's why
John
8:33 up to 44. Yeah.
8, okay. 33. And
Yeah, find it
Jesus
and get the tobacco meanwhile I roll cigarette.
Okay. And they answered him, "We are Abraham's descendants and have never been slaves of anyone. How can you say that we shall be set free?" Jesus replied, "Very truly I say unto you, everyone who sins is a slave to sin. Now a slave has no permanent place in the family, but a son belongs to it forever. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. I know that you are Abraham's descendants, yet you are looking for a way to kill me, because you have no room for my word. I am telling you what I have seen in my Father's presence, and you are doing what you have heard from your father." "Abraham is our father," they answered. "If you were Abraham's children," Jesus said, "then you would do what Abraham did. As it is, you are looking for a way to kill me, a man who has told you the truth that I heard from God. Abraham did not do such things. You are doing the works of your own father." "We are not illegitimate children," they protested. "The only father we have is God himself." Jesus said to them, "If God were your father, you would love me, for I have come here from God. I have not come out of my own. God sent me. Why is my language not clear to you? Because you are unable to hear what I say. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies.
You see, that's how Jesus describes them. That's the descendants, that's this bloodline, those people. I'm not talking about converts, I'm talking about all bloodlines who are ruling the whole Jewishness. You have to understand the roots of it, who they are. They're not of God, they're of the devil. That's simple truth. Scripture confirms it. So how Christ called them? He said that they are synagogue of Satan, repeatedly. They are generation of vipers, as the snake from the garden. They are of their father, the devil. Christ said as well, where Christ goes, they can follow. And as he said as well, separate tares from the wheat. I believe it's a Matthew 13:24. Maybe we can bring it. Because they are the bad ones. So we have separate ourselves from them. Yes, Matthew 13:24.
24.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jesus told him another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed seed among the wheat and went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then a weed also appeared. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, but it's up to, I didn't finish, sorry, I forgot, from 24 to 43. So read it all, please. Yeah, so my bad. Sorry about that.
The owner's servants came to him and said, Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where then did the weeds come from? An enemy did this, he replied. The servants asked him, Do you want us to go and pull them up? No, he answered, because while you were pulling the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them. So true. Let both grow together until the harvest. At the time I will tell you the harvesters, first collect the weeds and tie them in bundles to be burned. Then gather the wheat and bring it to my barn. He told him another parable. The kingdom of him is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in this field. Though it is the smallest of all seeds, yet when it grows, it is the largest of garden plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds can come and perch in its branches. He told them still another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed into about 60 pounds of flour until it worked all through the dough. Jesus spoke all these things to the crowd of parables when he did not say anything to them without using a parable. So was fulfilled was that was spoken through the prophet. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden since the creation of the world. When he left the crowd and went into the house, his disciples came to him and said, Explain to us the parable of the weeds in the field. He answered, The one who sowed good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the people of the kingdom. The weeds are the people of the evil one, and the enemy will sow them who sows them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the harvesters are the angels. As the weeds are pulled up and burnt in the fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will weed out his kingdom. Everything that causes sin, and all who do evil, they will throw them into the blazing furnace, when there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Whoever has ears, let him hear.
You get it now?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out, we get this a lot with the seed, the mustard seed, where they say it's the smallest of seeds. They're not saying it is the smallest seed. The language is smallest of seeds, explaining to them, look how small this tiny seed is and look how big it grows into.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's not saying the mustard seed is the smallest seed.
Yeah. It grows. So when you
it's
have
just
faith,
saying it's small and grows big.
Yeah, it's spiritual comparison. When you're in Christ, when you have Holy Spirit, you grow. And like comparison to the trees branches, it provides safety for the birds and so on. So a lot of parables, but very intelligent, very wise.
I love that parable, but it's so revealing though, because you get this a lot where the people are like, for instance, Eric DeBay. It's like, oh, God is just hateful. He wants you to go to hell and blah, blah, blah. Why would he put damnation for you? This is specifically what the parable says. Why do you think there is evil in the world? It's God didn't put the evil there. He gives free will. It's your choice to partake in that evil or not. When the time comes, you will either be you'll either be harvested with the wheat or you'll be harvested with the weeds. It's up to you to choose.
Yep, it's on you. Exactly. So Jesus said as well that every plant not planted by my Father will be thrown to the fire. That's his words. Christ hated them. God the Father and Christ are on the same page in a matter of non-human demons.
Mm-hmm.
Christ was not as gentle as a lot of people think. Christ was anarchist. I think he was the first anarchist because he was openly standing against the governments. He was saying, do not obey them. He was openly mocking them and disobeying so-called authority. For example, Pharisees. And Pharisees were the authority, religion authority. And he was mocking them constantly. That's why they were pissed about him all the time. When he claimed he is God, when he said, before Abraham was, I am. So they knew what he said. He was saying that he is God. That's why they want to stone him at the time. So because they are of the devil and they hate Christ. That's why they claim he is burning now in the hell, in fire, and the human fecals. That's what they claim in the Talmud.
Well, think about it this way. If you had the love of God, you would have love for someone, correct? Not hate.
Exactly, yeah.
Just have to point that out. But I think it shows you what perverted world we live in today. Because the Bible also says that in the end times, everything that's good will be seen as bad, and everything's bad will be seen as
I
good.
was going to say it exactly. Just take out it from my mouth. Yeah, the good is bad, but is good. And that's what
And we see that all over now.
everywhere. If you have eyes to see and ears to hear and a
Mm-hmm.
bit of understanding, you don't have to be super intelligent. Just can see it. Look, there's a
And
simple explanation.
you
If
get hated. You get
yeah,
hated for God name, for
hmm
God. And he did say, "Don't worry," because he was hated first.
yeah, 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 just followers, and will come to us as well, 100%. Look, people say, "Oh, there is no God, Satan does not exist, and Satan does not exist, and so on." If he does not exist, why they promoting him everywhere? You can see it any Grammys, any music festival, music awards, MTV awards, whatever.
Babylon,
But
Babylon
yeah,
in your face.
everywhere. So why, if he doesn't exist, why push him?
Mm-hmm.
Just open your eyes. It's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have to be super intelligent. Just see with your own eyes. It's very simple, guys. Very simple.
Yeah, and we want to point out God didn't per se create evil. Okay, he created and it was good.
Yeah,
Evil is the antithesis of that good.
yeah.
Okay, and that was created, or how can I say, manifested
Manifested.
by disobedience, by sin.
Yes, yes. So all bad things come when you do not listen to God. Like
Disobedience.
before, yeah, they should be wiped out. They weren't. That's why we are where we are.
Yeah.
When God created Satan, Lucifer, he was the most beautiful, the most intelligent, but he became proud because he had a free will. So majority of the angels, they follow God from their own will, but because Satan was disobedient, he became proud because he didn't wanna bow to people because God commanded angels to serve mankind, and
Yeah.
because they were created before, they were too proud. That's why one third of angels, he was able to flip on his side because of the pride and ego.
Yeah. But I find it very ironic, like, because if you think about it, even when God gave a commandment to Adam and Eve, they shall not eat of that tree. Okay.
Mhm.
Remember, the tree was there. He gave the free will, the free choice to make the
Exactly.
decision.
God
So
is
he did warn them and said, "Do not, because you surely shall die. There surely shall be consequences if
yes.
you disobey me." So he did, as a good father does, just like when you tell your children, "Don't climb on the roof. If you fall off, you'll get hurt." Things like that.
hmm
You have the choice to climb the roof and get hurt. Just like Adam and Eve had the choice to eat of the tree, which God commanded them not to do. It has consequences which they chose to disobey. God didn't force them to do it or not to do it. he gave them a choice.
Yes.
He warned them, and he said, "This are the consequences if you do it." They disobeyed, and these are the consequences of why everything is the way it is now.
Hmm.
It's I can't understand why people are always trying to blame God for the evil things happening in the world when it's not God's fault.
It's our fault, other people's fault, because we have free will.
Exactly.
Look, we know that God is all powerful. He could easily make Adam and Eve to do
A
not
robot.
eat from the tree, the apple. He could easily do that because he can do anything. But consider now the question: would you have still free will if God would make you? You wouldn't. Exactly.
It's like expecting, let's for instance say, you lock someone in a room, okay, and you tell them, "Listen here, you are not allowed to go and what can we just say? Drive this car fast on the highway." How are they going to do that if they're locked in a room?
They can't.
Do they
No
have free
possibility.
will to make
No.
a choice to drive that? Let's say God says this. Well, anybody says this. They lock you in a room. They say, "You see that Ferrari outside? I give you the choice now to go drive that Ferrari as fast as you want on the highway, but I've locked you in the room." Now the question is, that person in the room, do they have free will to be able to go and drive that Ferrari? No, because they're locked into the room. Okay? Now let's do another scenario. You're in a room with a door that's open. There's the Ferrari. God says, "Well, you have the choice. You can go drive that Ferrari. But just know, as soon as you do that, you have a big problem because you might end up in an accident and, well, consequence. Or you can stay in this room and be safe and know nothing's going to happen." What happens? That's what God does. He gives you a free will. He gives that open door to say, "This is the two scenarios you choose." But how the world is depicting this is God's a cynical dictator, which just says, "Oh, I'm tempting you with this." God doesn't tempt you with anything.
Yeah.
You choose.
I just
You
read
choose. Yeah.
Geronimo wrote, Creator just says, that's not the story. He told them, I don't want you to access wisdom and knowledge by eating the fruit.
No.
So, okay, let's say he's correct, I just want to go there. So what are you saying, Geronimo? That God was wrong?
No. First of all,
Wait.
he's literally, wait, but he's busy parroting the
I
original
know,
sin right now.
I know, but I want to
He
go there.
is literally doing what the serpent did
Yes,
to
exactly.
Eve.
Yes. So
Let,
that's
let me just put it up for you guys.
yeah.
This is his thing, so you can read in context. He says, "That's not the story. He told him, I don't want you to access wisdom and knowledge by eating the fruit." That is literally the original sin the serpent said to Eve.
Yeah.
Surely God wants you to have wisdom. You surely won't die.
You know where
That's
you're getting
literally
that,
the original sin,
Geronimo.
Geronimo.
Who are you supporting? You should think about yourself. That's not proper question. You shouldn't be spill this kind of questions. Just think about the repercussion. And
But you,
even if it would be correct, which is not, but even if it would be, wouldn't you assume and know that the God knows everything and knows consequences, what will happen later when they will have possessed this knowledge? Just think,
and
please think in a bit wider perspective. Just please.
yeah, and that's why I gave that analogy earlier with the child climbing on the roof. God was the loving parent telling Adam and Eve, "Listen here, that tree is there because of free will. Okay, I'm not going to force you not to take it, but taking it means there is consequences. So you have the free will because I don't create robots; I create people with a free will. You get to choose, do you want it or not? But note, if you do choose that path, it leads to death. That's it. The sad thing is, like when the serpent came and beguiled Eve and said, "Well, he actually doesn't want you to take that. He just leaves it there for you, but he actually created it so you can take it because he wants to test you, wants to make sure that you do follow your own thing because he doesn't want you to be just as him. Because if you do this, You'll have the knowledge and you'll be just like God. This was the lie. And you know what's sad about that? That same lie is the same way people today read the original sin. They read it as God doesn't actually want you to make a choice. He doesn't want you to do things. He made it that way so he can be the maniacal kind of demonic entity and blame everything on other people. In the meantime, you that's busy making that claim that he forced, remember what did Eve do once God came and asked, why, what did you do? What was Eve's first response?
Lie.
It was the serpent. He
Yeah.
told me to do it. And what was Adam?
Pushing the blame.
The wife you gave me told me to do it. Get it? So this is the same, how can I say, fruits that all atheists and people that are anti-Christian have.
Mm-hmm.
They blaming God for their own lusts. They're claiming God for their own hates. They're blaming God for their own sins.
Yeah, I want to address Geronimo again. Yes, 100% God knew they will eat the fruit. It doesn't mean he pushed them there. He just knew that will happen because of free will. Because God is all-knowing, he knows what will happen. But you still have a choice. You could eat it or you could not eat it. But because can see the future, because God can see the future, know what will happen, they knew they will eat it. You're correct. So he could make them not to eat it, but then they would not have free will. I'll give you an example. Can you make anyone forcefully to love you? You can't. That won't be love. That will be fear and other things. The love is always pure and unconditional. So God wants to share his love with us. That's why he created us. Because he's so pure, so he has so much love, his pure love, he wants to share his love with us. That's why he created us. So if he would push us to love him unconditionally, that wouldn't be free will. He gives you free will to choose him or reject him. It's very simple. You can't fight it. You can't win. If you say anything against it, you can't win. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's very, very simple, as Janusz said. And yes, the serpent said, you surely will die, because that was a lie from the serpent. That was it. It was a lie.
Yes. No, this guy is literally, he doesn't comprehend the basics. Knowing about something and the pushing people to do something are two different things. For example, if I know that you are jumping and you're on the edge of the building, I can fairly assume that you will fall down because you're jumping all the time on the edge. So telling you, no, I won't fall, and you fall. Oh, you did it to me. No, I didn't. You did it yourself.
Well, let's put this in there. Remember earlier you said God is a just God. Okay?
Yes, and he gives you what you desire.
Yeah, so because God is a just God and he gives people free will, he knows the outcome. He's omnipotent, he's omnipresent. He knows the future, okay? Even because he knows the future, he still lets you do what you want to do. Because why? He's a just God. He knows your actions have consequences, but he still lets you take that choice to get in that situation. So just like where you have someone saying, okay, don't go and climb on the roof because that brick's loose. If you stand on it, you'll fall and get hurt. Okay? Now, God knows that will happen. He knows that you'll get hurt. Remember, you were warned not to do it. You, out of your own, decided, yes, I've heard God telling me this, but I'm still going to do it anyway. What happens? You climb, the brick is loose, you slip, you fall, you break your arm or whatever. Were you warned beforehand? Yes. Is that justified? Yes. Because God's a just God, he gave you a warning and he told you there are consequences for your action. He knew it would happen, but because he's a just God, he lets you have your free will. If you're going to do it or not is not going to change anything, because God is not going to interfere, because you have free will. He's a just God. You having to pay for your own consequences of your own sin is justful. Just like if someone goes and they murder someone and they go to jail for that murder, it's a just consequence. You made the choice to do it. No one forced you to do it. You did it out of your own. No stress, Janusz. But it's not hard to understand, guys. Because God loves you and he gives you free will and he wants you to love him out of your own, this is why it's very important to understand that everything that happens is not God's fault. Everything that happens is initialized from Satan and manifested by us. Not hard to understand, guys. Predetermination doesn't take away free will, Geronimo. Again, just like I explained to you, God knows what's going to happen, but he still lets you make the choice anyway. It's not going to change where you make that choice or not. God had nothing to do with the choice you made. You still made the choice. He knows what's going to happen, but because he's a justful and loving God, he lets you make that choice even knowing the outcome. It's not crazy. Difficult to understand. It's quite crazy that people are so, I don't know,
Sorry, I'm
blocked
back at the phone
towards
call.
understand what free will is. And I think it's really immature to think predetermination means no free will. Because it doesn't. That's literally like Theology 101 as ignorant. Predetermination doesn't take away free will.
Yeah, I just scrolled to the screen and I see J. Heichten wrote, Flats, what about children that have been sexually abused? They do not take that fruit. Not talking about when they are adults. All right. Okay, you have to understand. People do earthly things, not godly things. If they would do godly things, it wouldn't have happened. Because God of this world, small g, is Satan. That's why people do those things. Because they are influenced by him, not by God. That's why they do bad things to good people. Because they are of the devil. If they would be of God, they would not do that.
And that's
And
what you
that's
brought up
very,
earlier.
very common and overused argument. I heard it so many times, I'm just sick of it. Because people
Yeah, and
don't
that's what
grasp
you
the
brought up
situation.
earlier with Matthew. That's exactly what we brought up earlier. But yeah, it's not hard to understand. The person that, for instance, molested the child or whatever, they made the choice to do that. Okay? You understand? There's consequences. Unfortunately, the child is now bound by those other consequences by that other person making the choice. Just like another person making a choice to murder someone. Do you know that that whole family lineage based on that murder can now not exist? So there's a lot of generations that won't exist anymore because of a consequence of someone else making a decision to murder that person. You get it?
Yes.
It's the same thing. Now, all this started because of the fall of man. This was because sin entered into the world. Remember, Adam and Eve were created as immortal. There
Yes.
was no death. There was no
They were
entropy.
sinless, yeah.
There was no death. Because they sinned, entropy, you can say, became into manifestation. It manifests itself. Now death came into be. Things started to decay. Things started to die. What is the result of sin? Death.
Then death is separation from God. That's why.
Exactly.
When you understand
Everything
scripture, you
perverse.
connect the
Yeah.
dots. Yes. And for
Everything
the
away from God.
yes. For the future reference, please, just please, if you're going to ask questions what they were asked many, many times and easily debunked in 2-3 seconds, please Google it, Bing it, whatever you do. I'm just sick of answering this kind of questions. It's just,
It's
wasting
childish
freaking time.
questions.
Childish, yeah.
It,
So
sorry, Droma, but it's literally ignorant, childish, immature questions. It's bottom of the barrel questions, unfortunately, Geronimo.
but that's
You would
the
agree?
atheistic questions, which they are really please, nothing against you. Just please research this question yourself, and you find the answer. You won't need to spend time on it. It was already played many times by many people.
Yeah, I mean, Janusz, let's do another scenario.
Yes, go on.
Someone runs up to a school and they burn the school down. Now, there were some children trapped in that school and they burned to death. Okay? Did that person who burnt the school down make a choice to do that?
Of course he did.
Did it have consequences for those children in the school and the family members
100%.
around that? Okay, and everybody involved. The consequences came from the free will of that person burning the school down. Now, let's put it another way. If the guy chose not to burn the school down, will those children would have died?
Of course they
No,
wouldn't.
because he didn't make that action.
Yeah.
He chose a different path.
Hmm. Like I said
So
before.
what was the consequence of burning the school? Death.
Yeah.
What is the consequence of not burning the school? Nothing.
Because they are, like I said before, I mentioned that again, because it's very important. Because those people are following earthly things and earthly God, small g. If they would follow God's law and God, it would never happen. But they have free will, so they can choose, and they choose unfortunately badly for themselves and for other people. It's very simple.
Okay, now he's asking another question. Who decided they sinned? Easy. Disobedience is a sin. Disobedience. They
So disobeyed.
disobeyed God. That's a sin.
So you can use it, as a Bible reference, this way. So then I get it. Yeah, you're correct. I didn't see it. Yeah, you're right. My apologies. That's the question which could put you. My bad. Sorry about that. I didn't see it coming. Fair point. I agree with you. So you can use Bible reference to it, So, and thank you for pointing it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's the thing, Jay. Just like you said, sorry, I got you. My brother always blames God for his childhood. And that's usually the issue that most people have. I'm actually going to be doing a video. I watched the guy's video today, and I actually commented to him because he used to be a Christian, and he's like deconstructing from Christianity, you could say, as he was saying. And his whole premise on why he's no longer a Christian and deconstructing was me, I feel God did this. God, everything is blaming God and making God to be this very evil, sadistic kind of guy. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be mean to the guy and be very but I'm going to point out facts to say why his line of thinking is wrong. Because as soon as you sit back and think, it's God's fault that I'm tempted. It's God's fault that I feel that I need to be accepted. It's God's fault this. No, it's not God's fault anything. If you are suffering from thinking, I'm not good enough, that's you. That's not God. If you are suffering from thinking you're scared to don't want to go to hell or just want to please, that's your own line of thinking. That's not God. But like I said, I've got a special video planned to explain everything because I'm going to be using. Yeah,
would be nice to watch. Yeah,
I think it's going to be very interesting because it also falls under the line of, remember that series, this one we were doing, which you still got to finish though, the 7 levels of growing with God. As when I was watching that video, this thing came to mind, and I was thinking, yeah, this guy's level of maturity is probably a number 2, and that's why his line of thinking was so wrong. It's so screwed up.
Flat, I wanna last time in your name address Geronimo. Can you put his text on the screen so people will see it? So God is just a spectator.
Practically.
Kind of, but I want to explain to him. Yes. Just watching what happens while knowing that will happen. Look, you are still seeing things in an earthly way, not God way. We are here on earth only in the blink of an eye. 50, 70, 80, 100 years. That's it. It's nothing comparing to the eternity with God. So, if you are thinking in earthly things, you won't see God because you are of the earth, not of the God. That's why you're atheist. That's how it is. Because you are focused on the earthly things, not godly things. And that's your limitation, unfortunately, my friend.
Yeah. It is his limitation, and it's his, like I was saying, it's his limitation of how he's thinking as well.
Yeah,
He's
that's unfortunate.
limiting everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just based on free will, and if you don't understand what free will means, then there's no helping you. Literally, there's no helping. Tara also has quite a good question. Where does the law of karma fall under in the purview of the Bible? Well, the Bible doesn't specifically talk about the word karma, but there is, you can say, karma in the Bible. If you've ever heard what you reap, you shall sow, that's in the
Exactly.
Bible.
Yeah.
It's under the same kind of structure.
Bubble. Yeah.
Think about it. If you kill by the sword, you'll die by the sword, kind of thing. It's if you're going to sow negativity, what do you expect to get in return? You're probably going to get negativity
Yeah.
back. So if you're going to go and be hateful to someone, 9 out of 10 times you're going to get hate back. So the Bible teaches against that. That's why a lot of time the Bible teaches when someone's hateful towards you, show them love.
Which is very hard. And I can admit that. I'm trying, but I'm still failing, so.
So yeah, at the end of the day, everybody has their own choice to make, and you're always making decisions thousands of times a day. Okay? And those decisions lead to consequences. It's not hard to understand. It's no one else's fault for the decisions you make.
Geronimo, Google. Another stupid question. The basic one, do bacteria have a free will?
Bacteria isn't sentient. You do know we need bacteria to literally survive.
Yes.
You made practically of bacteria. Where you are now, there's bacteria on you. Bacteria helps you to actually function.
They did experiment. They keep people in the sterile environment. They were trying to reduce bacteria to the as low level as possible. People very soon were dying, all of them. You have to have bacteria in our bodies.
But
of course,
yeah,
the good ones,
diseases,
not the bad ones. Yeah.
yeah. But by the way, guys, diseases and all calamities and everything that happens, natural disasters, that's part of the sin. Remember, the world is dying. The world is busy dying. The Bible's literally said, sin enters, death. So remember, Adam and Eve were created as authorities to rule the world. They were the kings, the king of the world. It was literally under authority. And because Adam decided to sin, there were consequences underneath. Just like if you have a family, okay? And let's, for instance, say the father and mother have an argument. Okay? The father or the mother climbs in the car, they take the children, and they rush off a highway and they get into an accident. The decision of the authoritarian person, the mother or the father, because of their decision, the children paid the price. You understand? It's the same. The earth was under Adam. He was governor. You could say he was made to govern the earth. So what happened when Adam sinned, sin came upon the earth, and this earth has now fallen into sin, which is death. This is why before there was sin, guys, there was no such thing as meat eating. It was you can read it up to Genesis 6. They were actually all vegetarians, you could say. Okay? Because they ate plants and stuff. It's after sin that all of a sudden God gave the animals to eat.
Yeah.
Because death came after.
Teret asked the question, what punishment is guaranteed for the globbers who misled people so people make wrong choices using their free will? Is it counted as a sin? We have to make a distinction from my perspective. Depends if they are willful ignorance or they are willful liars. Because if they've been taught this way and they do not research themselves, okay, they just don't know better and they spread lies, not knowingly. But the ones who are doing that knowingly, the definite punishment is awaiting for them because they are willfully lying and they're promoting Satan's agenda.
Yeah, let's for instance take McToon and Duffy. They know what they're doing is deceptive.
Yeah.
They know they're lying. They know they're going against God's word, but they're still choosing to do it. They are busy leading people astray from God. And what does the Bible say if you lead people astray? It's better to tie a millstring around your neck.
No, it was about the ones who touched the children.
Yeah, but remember, you have to be as children to come unto God. Remember,
yes, that's true.
you're still God's children. Doesn't matter how old you are. If
Yes.
you are leading someone astray, you're still leading God's children away.
To answer your question, it's impossible because of free will. It's impossible. There is no time now on earth or ever, only when Christ comes back. Then they will be separated we from there, and only good people will be taken, but will stay unlived and so on, and they'll be sent to hell.
Okay, so Geronimo, another idiotic question. Okay. What is God controlling? Free will. He doesn't control disease, disaster, no control. Again, it's a consequence of sin. God giving free will, and He's a just God, has to let it take place. Just like if you burn a house down, you let it burn. Why? Because it's the consequences of burning the house down. God warned Adam and Eve. They didn't obey him, and now the consequences of everything happening are based because of that disobedience to God. Not hard to understand. It wasn't God's fault. Adam and Eve made the choice. We all make choices every day. You can choose to get out your bed, or you can choose to stay in your bed.
Yeah.
No one's forcing you to do anything. God doesn't force you to get out of bed or make you stay in your bed. You choose.
Mm-hmm. And Geronimo, again, he assumes that God, his question, underlying premise is that God does not control anything. So if he does not control anything, how it happens that people have cancer, 4-stage cancer, and they get miracle, and they are fully healed? How it happened? I can give you the video when the guy was speaking he had a problem with the voice, and he was speaking like that for 40 years, maybe 30 years, can't remember exactly, but very long time, few decades. And then because he was praising the Christ, he got miracle healing during the speaking to people. How did it happen? Miracles do happen. How do you explain them?
Let's take for instance that blind man, and Jesus went and mixed his spit with the mud and rubbed it on his eyes, and he could see. It was exactly that. Who was in control there? God.
Of course.
I mean, I personally know people that have literally died, clinically dead for 3 days, and they came back to life. Death certificate and all. Okay? God was the only one in control of that. Who else can bring them back to life?
Yep. Okay, Geronimo, that was the last answer to your question, because it's, I need to bring it. I need to bring the stuff I was talking before. Let me find it. Yeah. Give me a second. I just find it. I don't want to make mistake. So I'll explain you what is your standing point. You don't even understand what's your standing point. So let me tell you. All right. A general statement, but it's specifically pointing to you. You, as an individual who believes in the atheism, which is atheism, Islamism, which is Islamic fundamentalism, Judaism, Mormonism, Catholicism.
I don't like isms.
Yes,
just to let you know.
all the ism. Yes, so they are of the devil, all those things. I can tell you that we do not have more knowledge than those people who mock Christ openly. Freemasons, Luciferians, even Pope. They have way deeper knowledge than we do. They have better access to the more things. So, if Christ did not exist, what they would mock him? There is no logic in it. How you can mock something that does not exist? It's no logic.
That's so true. And
So,
we see this a lot.
and you are in the ism.
But don't you find that weird though, Janusz?
Faith. You don't even know it. You think you do not have faith. You have faith in atheism. You believe that God does not exist. It's system of beliefs. If it's system of beliefs, it's religion.
But don't you find that odd though? The anti-flat earthers think flat Earth's stupid, yet they're always fighting against flat Earth.
Yeah.
World Duffy and them say flat Earth's dead, yet they're still trying to fight flat Earth.
Yes.
Atheists think God doesn't exist, yet they hate God.
Yes, and they fight him.
And they fight him.
Yeah,
How
so
do you
leave it
fight
be if you
something
do-
which you don't think
Exactly.
exists? How do you hate something which you think
Stupid,
don't
you know.
exist?
It's very stupid. Why you would do that? Something like that? I don't get it.
It's like I know aliens don't exist. Do I fight against aliens don't exist? No, because it doesn't exist. So what the hell
Exactly.
must I do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like stupid.
Sorry, but it'll be personal. You know, I won't be fight your intellect because it doesn't exist.
That's a good one. Yeah,
Sorry, I just had to.
but I think we've answered Geronimo more than enough now. If the guy still doesn't
definitely.
get it,
Can you listen? I said ism, like fundamentalism, like Islamism, like Catholicism. Ism. Please listen next time.
he's saying the isanisms, Geronimo.
Right, that was no. I'm sick of this guy. You know, it's just like spewing the same BS. You know. Okay, maybe let's go back to the stuff I was talking before. We just derived totally. You know, we have totally.
But I think this was needed, though. Janusz.
Yeah, it was needed. I agree with you.
I think because a lot of people don't know the basis of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still on topic, though, because it is explaining why the Israelites disobeyed God and why they're not God's chosen anymore.
Yeah. Look, it's much easier to go after money. Money is your God. Than follow God's law, which definitely will bring you earthly, on earth things will be happening bad to you. 100%. It's not easy. Nama said, I'm still struggling with it, you know. I'm still often choosing the easy way instead of the right way. That's how we are.
Mm-hmm.
No, Geronimo, no answer for you. I love verse from the scripture. It's Hosea 4:6. Maybe you can bring it.
Isaiah 4:6.
Hosea 4:6. I really love this one. I'm trying to follow it. That's why I research some of the things.
I love this one as well.
Yeah.
And it's so true.
Mm-hmm.
My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I also reject you as my priest. Because you have ignored the law of your God, I will also ignore your children. Ish.
Generational curse, kind of. Yeah. But children have a choice to change their ways, because, for example, a lot of atheists, which I brought as atheists in atheistic home, they become Christians, so they have free will to change their ways. But it's on you. You have to do work on yourself. You have to research and get to your own conclusions, not freaking spilling and repeating talking points which I've heard and seen I don't know how many times.
The thing is, I don't know about this, because the thing is, all people are now, even the Gentiles, which is now us actually, is also still God's chosen people. Anybody that really accepts Jesus is chosen.
Yeah, Israelites, but we have to know which Israelites, because people from Judah tribe, they were as well Israelites, but they were not God chosen people. That's why I said before, you have to make distinction if it's Judean Canaanites or Judean Judahites or any other tribe, because like I like to say, the devil is in the details. Details are very important, and I always think about myself. I'm a detail-oriented guy. I like the details, get to nitty-gritty. Yeah, and this video you have to watch if you're Christian. If you are not, probably won't watch it. But if you're Christian, it must be video. You have to see it. It's really good. You won't regret spending time. Like if I remember correctly, it's 14 hours, 17 minutes. This guy did really great job.
Mm-hmm. I see. Hey, just incredible. Good to see you, man. Glad you could make it. Terret says, Flatzoid, do you know about Ecclesiastes 40:28? Let's quickly just bring it up then. Okay. My son, lead not a beggar's life, for better it is to die than to beg. Yeah, but you must read in context. It doesn't help
Yes.
just taking just this one verse. Let's actually read it in context. Gold and silver make the foot stand sure, but counsel is esteemed above them both. Riches and strength lift up the heart, but the fear of the Lord is above them both. There is no want in the fear of the Lord, and is needeth not to seek help. The fear of the Lord is a fruitful garden, and covereth him above all glory. My son, lead not a beggar's life, for it is to die than to beg. The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life, but to be polluted himself in another man's meat. But a wise man will, well nurtured, will be aware thereof. Begging is sweet in the mouth of shameless, but in the belly there shall be a burning fire. In other words, if you have the wisdom to understand, what help is it going to be to beg for to be a beggar? God created us to be able to function, to be able to survive. If you're just a beggar, what are you going to do tomorrow? You're just going to be begging again. You're going to be stagnated. You're just going to be begged to survive. So what does it help doing that? I don't think it's something to, how can I say, it's an easy way out to survive, because there's a lot of beggars out there today because they just beg. Now they do, unfortunately, a lot of people are sit in a situation that, well, they're kind of forced to do it. But if you have a choice, I think you don't need to. I mean, there's a lot of people that we've taken people from sitting on the street and begging, and you give them a job and they don't want to take the job. Why? Because it's easier for them to stand on the side of the road, and they make more money a day begging for money than they do doing labor.
Carol Tyler just made a great point. Lack of knowledge makes you ask silly questions.
That's so true. And I also want to ask another thing. I also want to point out another thing based on this, though. Remember when Jesus says it's harder for a rich man, it's easier for a camel to go past through an eye of a needle than it is for a
Yes.
rich man
Yeah.
to enter the kingdom of God. Do you know why that is? Because what this verse is also talking about is you don't rely on God. You're not giving reliance on God because you don't feel you don't need him.
Because if you are rich, it means your God is money. It's earthly thing, not godly thing. Look, it's a very simple explanation. And I said a few times. Money itself is not a bad thing, but the love for the money is root of the all evil. That's a big distinction. And when you understand that, then you will see the bigger picture.
And then it also ties into you can't serve two masters. You can't serve Mammon and God.
Geronimo, I never.
You either serve one and despise the other.
This guy is Janusz Kowalskii. Are you trying to say Jews only come from Europe? Did I say something like that?
That's what he said. Sorry, Abraham. Where was Abraham
Oh,
from?
man.
Where was Abraham from? Not Europe.
No.
And where did the Hebrews come from? From Abraham.
Cherry picking and trying to put, words in someone's mouth, I don't know why. tend to do it, to make up their point. It's like a kind of
But this is the
lying.
sad thing. Yeah, but this is all the people do. They misrepresent what's said.
Yes,
I don't know if
example of it
it's
now.
just because they're dumb or they just want to be deceitful.
I think they want to be deceitful.
It's all that people ever do, though, because they don't have any rebuttal to anything if they don't want to. So they're just, instead of just, yeah, you're wrong, and let me say this is what you're saying, and you didn't say that. David says, is it worse to beg or labor under a depraved employer? You see, that's what I said. It's probably based on circumstances, because some people are forced to beg. Let's, for instance, take a person that's been retrenched and they're, for instance, paraplegic. They don't really have much choice on doing a job, can they? Because who's really going to go and hire a paraplegic beggar? So I do think it is based on circumstances. Remember, God has it on also on the intent of your heart. So if you're choosing, okay, I can work, but I'm choosing rather just to sit here and beg, he's just trying to say it's shameful. You better than that. You can work and you can better. Where you are being as a beggar, you're just stagnating. You got nothing more to live for.
Yeah, Brad and Tasha provided you answer, Geronimo. And if you need a summarization of my points, it means you didn't listen at all, because you would know what I was saying. If you don't
It was
listen,
in your
it's no
presentation.
point to speak with you.
It was in your presentation.
Exactly. So maybe rewind video. You can find the answer there. I won't be providing for you a second time.
Shows you they don't listen.
Yep.
Oh, man. But I enjoyed the stream. I think it was good.
Yeah, it's good. Are we going further, or yeah, we can go maybe a bit further, unless you have to go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm tired actually.
All right.
But
Maybe
we're gonna probably have to do a part 3.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? Maybe we just go to the because later will be Obadiah 1:3. So maybe I just get to the point, just a few more sentences, and we stop there. Then will be easy to
100%.
remember for me where to start again.
I just want to point out,
Mhm.
yes, Arwen. Give me money now.
Money. All right, so let's go back to the Pharisees and so-called authority. That's why I claim Christ was anarchist, because he was disobeying so-called authority, and he was mocking them constantly. So that's why for me he was the biggest anarchist ever, because what's the man-made laws made by men? It's a man-made law, not God's law, and they were pushing on him man-made law. Religion is man-made. People say, oh, Christ was religious. No, Christ was not religious. And that what were you saying? Because religion is man-made. Religion is made by men to control the men. And Christ did not follow religion. He did not follow man-made rules. He opposed them. That's why he was standing against the Pharisees and so on. It's very simple, but you have to understand that. That's why I claim he was anarchist. That's my perception. So Chris was mocking them. He rebuked them. He baited them. He ignored them. He asked ridiculous and loaded questions to them in public. He defied their authority continuously in public. That's who he was. He was literally standing against them, and they were so-called authority. And later, fortunately, King James changed the word of God, which says, "Do not obey man-made rules; follow God's rules." And the King James said we have to obey governments, because governments are of the devil, are of the earth. They're not from God. And God said himself, I can give you rulers, I can give you kings, but you won't be happy. That's from Scripture as well. So here you go. For example, a story about healing blind with the dirt in a Sabbath. He used it against them. they did not use. He did not need to use dirt, but he did it because Talmud said not to do it, and there were few so-called Jews there, so he was openly mocking them. That's why he used dirt, because they said, "Don't do it. You can't use dirt." He could do it because he's God. He could do it without dirt, but he chose to do dirt because he was mocking them and opposing them openly, and they knew it. That's why they hated him. He's literally standing against so-called authority. It's the man that God looking up to.
You see, the thing is, people have a false sense of authority. They're prideful and they got ego. They think that they are above, you could say.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, they don't realize they just an ant in an ant's nest, and God can squash them at any time if you really choose to do so.
Mm-hmm. And when he did it, when Christ did it, just were saying that he's breaking the Sabbath. And Sabbath is for the man, not for the God. So he was breaking the man-made rules, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to throw it in their faces. And the Christ whipped them from the temple with the made whip.
And that's how it shows you that, like you said, God is like an anarchist. He's like in your
Yes.
face.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
just going to say it, I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
So think of how a slap in the face it is to the self-righteous priests, because
Yeah.
they
To correct
stuck
them all
to
the time, to show them how
they
bad they are.
stuck to that stuff religiously, like it's the end or be all. And here comes a guy which they claim is not God, and he's like, well, you don't believe me, so let me show it. Let me do what only God can do.
Yeah. He was
And that's
healing.
why they wanted to kill him for blasphemy, because he
Yeah.
was showing he's
Mhm.
God, because he's working on the Sabbath. He's breaking their commandment.
Yes. Their Talmudic rules, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Openly. That's why I say he was the biggest anarchist ever on earth. There will never bigger one.
Yeah. But that's also why the Bible actually teaches against being religious. Because if you're religious, you're just going to follow rules, and there is no the intent's not there.
Man-made rules, to be exact.
Yeah, there's no intent there. There's no substance. It's just fake. And God is all about real. So when we like even say, okay, God gave us free will, He created us with free will, there's a foundation there of love. There's a foundation of, I want you to love me, not I'm forcing you to love me. And this is the same with this religion. If you're religious, you're not loving God, you're just doing it because you're either fearful for going to hell, or you're fearful for being, how can I say, judged. There's no actual substance behind it. And I think this is why a lot of Christians today, leave the faith. Because they
their
haven't got the
faith
intent.
is rooted mainly in the church. And I said before, I said again, church is exactly what we have now. Me, Flat, you guys, that's the church. That's the real church. We are meeting here in the name of Christ, in the name of God. We are speaking about Him. And that's the church. We are creating the church now as we speak. It's not the building. Building is man-made to worship supposedly God. But if you really look into the Catholic churches, the central point, there's always sun rays. It's sun worship. It's Lucifer. There's always rays of sun. It's Luciferian stuff. And Christ, God, said you can't make any depiction of God. And they make Jesus monuments and so on. It's Luciferian. The biggest one made by Vatican, yeah?
Yeah.
Luciferian shit.
Yep. And it's this, the symbolism is in your face.
for the one with the eyes to see. Now we are trying to look. I'm not perfect. I never will be, but I'm trying to share with you knowledge which I have. Hopefully, some of it will get to you.
Oh, look, but this is exactly what he's saying. Look at this. Look at this, guys. This is a question based out of ignorance. Can you worship God without being also afraid of him? There's a difference between being fearful of God and being afraid. So you have a fearful love and you have a afraid love. This is where it goes. I suggest you go and listen to our C session with the 7 levels of growing with God, because it explains this perfectly. The way you think about it is the way you're going to adapt to it. So if you think fearful, as in, I have to do this because, ooh, God's going to judge me, God's going to punish me, you're not in the right place. You, on the other hand, should be, I don't want to do this because of God's love, because I want to please God, because I love God, because God loves me. You're doing it just like when you get married. You will do anything for your spouse because you love them, not because you feel, oh, I have to do it or I'm going to lose my partner. You understand? It's 2 different things. Love comes from you wanting to do it, not I feel I have to do it because of repercussions. Get it? Not hard.
Someone said that the where it is, Jews is slang for Cain. No, to be exact, word Jew was first time implemented for the wide world in the King James, and they were combined few tribes which they were canonized, and few tribes of God chosen people, and King James put all of them into one basket under the name Jew, which is bad because King James, he was Mason. I can provide you for your information, depiction, and so on. He was Mason, and Masons are Luciferians, so they believe in Lucifer. Not God. They know God exists, but they believe in Lucifer. That's the light for them.
Yeah.
Lucifer is a light bringer, and Christ is light bearer. Lucifer is second inversion of Holy Trinity. Because God is light bearer, Lucifer is light bringer, bringer of knowledge. That's what he did
Hence Freemasonry.
yeah. First part of the Holy Trinity is God the Father. Who is Satan? Is father of lies. That's what it is. Third is Beelzebub, which has 7 names, the same as Holy Spirit has 7 names. It's inversion of the third part of the Holy Trinity. People don't know it. People don't see it. That's why on the top of the Masonic pyramid, you have all-seeing eye. That's the Lucifer. He's on the very top because he's God of this earth, small g. If you really grasp those ideas, you can see how all of these events which are happening across the world are fitting to the picture because of his plan. But you have to willing to see it and get rid of your implemented perception of reality. If you have open mind, which people usually say they do, but majority they don't. That's the truth.
Yep. What did I say? I saw it earlier. He said, nothing to be afraid of then. No, the only thing you need to be afraid of is yourself. What decisions you make determine
Yes.
your outcome.
Yeah.
So that's what you should be afraid of. Remember, because God's a justful God.
Yeah.
You make the choice. God just implements the judgment.
I'm afraid only of God. You know why? I'm not even afraid of Satan. You know why? This explanation is very simple. Because Satan can only do what God allows him to do. So, if I'm wrong with God, God allows Satan to follow me, to push me. That's why I'm afraid more of God than of Satan.
The reason I also say be fearful of yourself and not of be fearful God, because God is just. He's going to judge you justly and righteously. You need to be afraid of yourself because the decisions you make is going to choose how God's going to judge you and how God's going to determine your outcome. It's your choice again. So free will, Geronimo. Fear yourself. Fear your own decisions. And understand that God is just and he loves you. And that's why he gives you the free will. At the end of the day, the ultimate decision is yourself.
Ask yourself a question, Geronimo. If you have free choice to go to the country when there is a very deep fundamentalism, Islam fundamentalism, very deep, you have to pay jizya, you have to convert or be beheaded, or go to the Christian country based on the God's law, which country would you choose?
Phew. Quite a hard one.
Yeah, the answer is very simple. Even if you don't believe in God, you will still choose Christian country. Ask yourself why. That's your answer.
Glenn Sal's good verse, by the way, Matthew 21:43. Therefore I tell you that the kingdom of God will be taken away from you and given to people who will produce its fruit.
Exactly what happened to them. That's why I've said that God divorced his bride, because they were his bride before. He divorced them, and he created new covenant with Christ, and the new language, and the new name, Christianity, Christians. That's why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, God can do anything. Yeah, but that's what I say, Brad. There's a difference between fearing God out of love and having a fear of God. Geronimo is trying to make it say you should be scared, fear God, kind of thing. That's not what God is about. God is not about destruction, is not about being fear. Be fearful in God is understanding he's almighty, understanding he can do anything he wants. He can do it all. But be fearful in the mean of I'm fearful in love. I want to please God. I want to do everything. Not be fearful of God. I have to do it because otherwise I'm going to be punished if I don't. That's what I'm saying. You know, Geronimo is trying to link the two together, which aren't. It's like oil and water. They separate.
Yeah. I think there are three exceptions to what God can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you think that God can do everything, I think there are exceptions. And those are God can't lie, because he is truth. There's no lie in him. That's one thing.
And he's
Second
the
is,
same.
sorry?
Go ahead. And he's the same today, tomorrow, and forever.
Yeah,
He doesn't
exactly.
change.
And God can't sin. God can't sin. He's pure love, no sin at all in him. And the third one, to make those two possible, God can't change. Because if he would, it would be possible to change for him. He would be able to lie, and he would be able to sin. So those three
Exactly.
things God cannot do. Maybe there are more, but I only found those three. I think they are logical.
I think people miss the point from this is exactly why God is the standard for morality. He's the foundation. Because everything comes from God. The morality we stand on comes from God. And because his morality is the foundation for everything good, there is no way he can sin. There is no way he can lie. There is no way he can be unjust. He can be unrighteous. It's impossible. It's not in God's nature.
Yeah. If he would be,
It's his character.
if it would be possible for him, he wouldn't be God.
Exactly. By the way, guys, God chooses to be the way he is. Not that he limiting himself that he can't do these things. It's his character to choose.
Yeah, because if he would change, he would, then you wouldn't consider him as a God. It's very simple.
Exactly. No, God can't make mistakes, Geronimo.
No. You can make mistakes asking the stupid questions, which I already did many times. All the answers you have asked literally would take you 5 seconds on Bing, on Google, or whatever. And you could find it. Please, next time, before you're going to ask the question, ask yourself, can I find the answer to my question on Google? Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, I won't ask it. Perfect.
Now, I think Geronimo is now just trying to troll or something. Because there's no way someone can be this illogical.
Oh yeah, there are plenty of people like that, man. He can be. He can be. Maybe he's trolling. I don't know. I'm not in his skin, but maybe he's troll, maybe he's stupid. One or other. Those two things that are bad in a way.
Yeah. So, what do you have to say for closing, man? Sorry,
I
I
hope
need to sleep.
that you like what I had to say, and I hope you will come for the next part, third one, and I think there'll be fourth as well, because there is plenty to speak about. I
How
was
it's going
really
to go?
thinking that we go further, but
How this is going to go? We're probably going to end up going the whole year.
maybe no, not as much. I don't think so. Yeah,
Just joking, man.
we are bringing all the time different topics, which I really like, to be honest, because
Mhm.
it was good conversation, and I'm glad that we have covered those topics because they're very important.
And I'm sure you open to debates as well if someone doesn't agree with you.
Yeah, but I'm not a great debater, so of course I can.
I
But
think you'll do great, man. You're very knowledgeable on subjects, and
thank you. I don't see myself as such. I'm easily triggered, when someone tells bullshit to me. It's like, oh no, man, it cannot be. how it, I'm just triggered by stupid people. Seriously.
yeah, you kind of learn to grow hair on your teeth with some of these people.
Yeah, sometimes I remember with the Duffy, I was really I surprised myself because I was so calm speaking with him. I was like, I was fire inside, man. I was like, man, I want to bash him, but I kept my horses.
But yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. Appreciate
Thank you
the
for having me.
presentations. I think
Appreciate it.
we'll do it next week again. Another one. We'll
Perfect.
have to.
There's plenty
And
stuff.
a lot of people do like this. I mean, we've got 117 votes,
Very
and it
nice.
says,
Very
"Do you
nice.
enjoy Janusz's presentation?" 50% say yes. So that's about 60 people saying yes,
Oh, very
almost.
good. Very good. But 50 didn't, so it's half and half.
Yeah, but those are usually just trolls coming in because before we
Yeah,
even started, most of them were
that's true.
trolls
Yeah, that's true. That's
saying
true.
no.
Yeah, so knowledgeable
Because
people possibly like it. The ones who have no knowledge or are atheists, they didn't like it. Or the ones who support so-called God's chosen people, which is lie. I was talking about, oh, you can't say it about them. They of course, will be clicking no, 100%. Brainwashing did the job.
Yep. And the thing is, yeah, this isn't a subject that everybody is interested in as well, because it does kind of trigger a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, big time, of course.
But yeah, if you want the information, it's here for you.
Exactly. I can
You
provide, for
take
example,
it or
a lot
leave
of
it up to
courses.
you. Mm.
If you want to source material for the stuff I was talking about, I will gladly share it with you. I have roughly, let me check it quickly. I have, give me a second. Need to refresh it. At this moment, I have 34,949 videos, nearly 35,000 videos on my channel. So it's plenty of knowledge there. If you're looking for anything, it's very simple. For any phrase, MK Ultra, God, atheism, Judaism, Jews, whatever you're looking for, King James, whatever you're looking for, just type in the search field of my channel and you have plenty of videos. You won't have enough time to watch them all.
Yeah, by the way,
I
yeah, Vicky's on the case.
I just dropped my link.
Vicky rocks.
So some
Yeah,
people,
drop your link, yeah.
yeah, here it is. If you're interested in the things I'm talking about, there's plenty more. I just mentioned, just core things. There are many more details. But if I would go into details, we wouldn't even probably go to the 5% of the knowledge which I already presented, because it would be going too deep. So if you're looking for something, look into it. You can bring horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Yep, that's how it is for sure. You can bring a horse to water, you just can't make him drink. I feel that is exactly a true statement, because
Yeah.
that's exactly what's happening with a lot of people, especially on the
Look,
subject.
I get it, because everyone is programmed. I'm programmed as well. I'm fighting it. I'm trying to unschool myself but it's a long way. I will never do it fully. I did a lot of work on myself, and I did learn a lot, and I know where the lies were, the biggest definitely, and I'm still learning. So it's never ending. So
Learn every day. I
yeah,
mean, I also learn I learn new things every day.
exactly. But we are willing to learn, and getting rid of our old implemented perception of reality, because I consider myself as a man with an open mind. Look, I can be wrong. Of course, I am. Probably, maybe I even was wrong about something I was talking about today. Possibly. I'm not saying I'm perfect. No one is. Only God is.
So like we're saying, if people don't agree or they have other information, they can always just let us know. We'll be more than happy to hear them out. We're not going to say we the be all and end all of knowing everything.
Look, even the words, like a government, someone was mentioning before, you have to understand that English is double speak. And what you write and how it sounds is
Two
two
different
different
things.
things. So that's how it works. It's double speak, deception. That's how it works. Luciferian mainly perception. Double speak. Look into double speak, what it means. You will understand. People with knowledge will comprehend, but you will understand.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But yeah, I'm gonna say thanks, man, for coming. Appreciate everybody in the YouTube lands and the Rumble and Twitch. Good to see you all. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate you all. Yeah, it's great to know I can actually stream on Rumble. So, guys, do go subscribe to my Rumble channel as well. My backup channel is also up and running, so that's a good thing. So, I'll see you all tomorrow night with another exciting stream. Also, probably a serious topic. But good to see you guys. Really appreciate you all. And thanks, Janusz, again.
Thank you. And I want to thank you, everyone, that you didn't bash me too much and you kept with me. Appreciate it. Hopefully, you'll come for the next one.
Yeah. Always. Many blessings and may the pressure with you. Cheers, guys.
Good night, everyone.